What's up, Marlon? I'm just getting some stuff squared away here at home, so give me a second. Yeah, I just got back from Costco, so I'm making a protein shake real quick so I can get back on here.
Yep, you're good. Uh, Self-harm, Constitution.
Did you happen to talk to Mike and them, or did they
In
text
the
you?
house.
Good afternoon, everybody.
How'll Duke arm?
Doing pretty good. Hope you are, MAGA.
Marlon, you didn't hand out a mic to Mike? Guess I'll do it.
Oh, I
All
got
right.
it.
What's up, Carmen? No, I already handed it out. Carmen, what's up?
Not much. How you doing, Matt?
Just getting warmed up. I was just telling you guys or telling Marlon, I just got back from the store, so I was 1 minute behind.
What's happening, Mike? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Crazy weekend. Truck show just ended like an hour ago. So it was a pretty good show. Everybody's kind of tired, but it was a good show. I'm good, man. How about you?
Good. Happy Sunday. It's all good. We kind of knew that they were wrapping up. So yeah, I mean, we can do a little light one or however it works out.
Yeah, that's cool. They're gonna be coming in. They got a lot to talk about. We've met a lot of people
Oh, good.
down there. Made a lot of interesting relationships with the FMCSA, OIDA. Yeah, it was a pretty nice weekend.
Good for you. Good to hear it. Ida, huh?
Yeah,
Well, you already had it in there anyway, right?
yeah, OIDA. I didn't go. I wasn't at the show. I wasn't there. I had some personal stuff I needed to take care of, so I wasn't there. But Jake was there, Jamie was there, Jennifer and Caitlin were there. So they were manning the booth, and yeah, they were there. I know Jamie was talking with the guys from OIDA. I know Jake and Caitlin, and I think Jennifer ran up on the guys at the booth for the FMCSA, and they had a long conversation with those guys. Yeah, I'm gonna let them talk about it when they come in.
Leaps
Yeah,
and
that's
bounds.
awesome. I guess my only concern with tonight was if people were too tired or too busy breaking down a booth or doing whatever they were doing, because you guys have been putting in a lot of hours and time. So I know Jamie's put pushing hard, and you guys were pushing hard at that event. But man, that'd be awesome to hear what happened, because I saw the videos. Jamie was posting them. It was pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it was a nice show. Like, if everyone in trucking comes to those big events, Alex from Mother Trucker was there. Oida was there. All of the big players, they all set up booths and come to those big shows. The FMCSA was there. There was a lot of people there. The first day was pretty packed. Today wasn't as packed as yesterday, but there was still a lot of people there. So yeah, it was a good show. We're gonna go. We'll be at the next one. I know there's one. I think next month in Iowa. I don't know if we're gonna make that one. There's another big one in September. We're definitely gonna be at. I'll be at that one.
Where's that one at, Mike?
You know what? I don't know. I believe it's in Las Vegas, but I'm not really sure. I got to find out. Wherever the one is that's going to be held in Vegas, that's the one I'm going to be at. So I don't know if that one is in September or August, but that's probably the one that I'll be at.
Well, I love Vegas, so that's the one I would go to too.
Yeah, Dan is the head of the insurance division. He lives in Vegas, so yeah, he'll be there most likely as well.
Well, it was good to get the team all together and, meet each other. And that was probably the first time that Jake met Jennifer and Caitlin and all, right?
Well, Jake had met Jennifer before. I think it was Jake, that was his first time, I think, meeting everybody. But I know Jamie met Jennifer before, and I'm not sure about Caitlin. But yeah, it was they manned the booth, and they got a lot of interest, a lot of questions, a lot of people coming by asking for information. We're the new guys on the block, and we got a lot of attention. And it was really good. It was really cool. It was. We weren't expecting that. Jake insisted that we attend this truck show. I thought it might have been a little too soon, but he wanted it, so I said, "Yeah, okay, no problem." And he was right. It was a good show, and it was definitely worth it. There was a lot of people there that came just to see us, and it was pretty good. It was definitely worth it, and we're going to be attending the bigger truck shows regularly.
I was going to say, did they have one on the East Coast or not?
I know they have one in Pennsylvania. That one I think is in September, late September or October. They have them everywhere. They have multiple truck shows every month. Some of them are big, some of them are small. This one was big. We want to attend the ones like this that are pretty big, so that's pretty much what we're going to do.
What's up, Marlon? How you doing?
Great, Jake. How do, man? I heard you had a good time at the show there. Made lots of contacts. Do tell.
Yeah, man. It was a good show. Yesterday we were swamped yesterday, man. Today not so busy, but we signed up. First, as soon as we opened the booth up this morning, man, we signed up 2 members. So it was good. We got our name out there quite a bit. We had a lot of vendors stopping by wanting to work with us, and a lot of members that knew who we were just stopped by to say hi, man. It was great. Got our name out there for sure. These truck shows are definitely the way to do it as far as, I guess, region to region, in my opinion. So it was a good time. It was well worth the money to rent a booth. I got Jamie here with
Well,
me. I'm sitting right
yeah,
next to him.
it definitely gives you the time to like have that one-on-one conversation and answer questions with somebody.
Yeah,
And I'm sure there were many questions. I'm sure.
yeah, there was. We were wore out, but we stayed till probably 6 in the evening Central Time yesterday, me and Jamie, and we probably talked a million miles. I mean, if you could have put it down in mileage, the amount of talking we did yesterday, we probably talked a million miles because everybody was interested. You know, uh, we're not going to mention any names, but a lot of them came by and said, "Are you guys, you know, the owner operators, independent drivers?" Said, "Well, no," and they're, we're like, "Oh, Ida, who?" Our Jennifer, she was in there making fun of OIDA. So it was a good time. A lot of people didn't know we existed before today, but I know for a fact that we got our name out there.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That what you said about the other group, yeah, there's other people out there, but you guys are Noah, and you're different. So
Yeah, we dropped by their booth, just to see what was going on, and they were just sitting there twiddling thumbs. I don't think they had much traffic down there. They've been out here for 50 years. Honestly, man, what we're doing, they're not doing. We're we're going to be writing some policy in Washington and for Washington. I talked to an FMCSA auditor today. They had a booth out there for over an hour, and I asked him questions about, does the FMCSA even audit brokers? I said, and this guy is an auditor for the state of Texas for the FMCSA. And I said, I asked him this, and he had no answer. He said, I've never heard of an audit for a broker at all. I said, there's not even a department for people, there's no broker audit department. So, and when I asked them about filing a complaint against a broker for this double brokering that we had the other day that we caught, they directed me to the part on the website where they thought it was, and I said, nope, that's just for household goods. I said, you physically cannot file a complaint against a broker, an actual freight broker. And they wanted to prove me wrong, so they looked it up themselves, and they were proved wrong. Their mouths fell open, and they both looked at me and said, I guess you're right. So that's just one more roadblock for drivers that if you wanted to file a complaint for being a crappy, someone that treats you like crap or rips you off, you can't. There's not even a department to file it to, and there's no auditors to come in and check and, they don't even budget it to, let's train some auditors. It's not even in their budget. I've got all the people are leaving the truck show blowing their air horns. I don't know if y'all can hear that in the background. So I'm gonna leave it right there for a minute. Let some of this sound die down.
So I think, Mike, people had expressed that you're looking to, establish contacts in each state or set up an office in each state. I mean, are you guys going down that road? I mean, each individual state?
Yes, sir. That was actually something that we were working on months ago, even before we, started the website. And I put a post in the group about it, and we got an overwhelming response for it. So we know that we have the capability of putting satellite offices of NOAA in every state in the country. It's just a matter of getting it done. We're working on a lot. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We're spread kind of thin. We're working on a lot. The day-to-day management of the association is pretty time consuming. It's a big organization. But we are going to get that done. That is 150% going to get done. So people are responding now, offering to represent in their state. So as they come in, we'll be responding to them, and we'll be taking it from there. So, yes.
Yeah, I've had some questions from people in the audience. Hey, possibly coming up with some space or parking space or, even an office or, whatever. So I'm sure there's going to be people signing up, inquiring about that.
Yeah, and as you could see, especially from the outpouring of support we had this weekend from the show, we're going to fully man offices, fully staffed, fully equipped, fully supported by the association. We're looking to do voter registration, registering for NOAA, insurance policies, all of that stuff out of these offices. So, as well as advocacy from the local to state to federal level in every state in the United States. That's our goal. That's our plan. That's what we're looking to do.
Awesome. Yeah, I see Carm's got 100% up there. I mean, that's right up that girl's alley.
Absolutely. That is, I mean, like that just made me like want to jump up and down, really quick because I love that. And that's what's going to keep, it's what's going to get our nation back. I mean, this right here is exactly what's going to get everyone. It's going to take some time, but we, the people, just have to move with it and do the work to get it there. And then once it's there, keep doing the work so it will remain there and we don't come back to this. We hopefully will never see this again. But God bless you. That is amazing. And if you ever need anything, please let me know, or Matt, Marlon, or Iceman know. And I'm always here. So I love jumping in where I can help. I'll yield.
So,
Thanks, Marlon.
so just to give you a little background on her, she went to Myrtle Beach and she registered 10,000 new voters, Mike. So if you wanted a honey badger on the ground, man, I would guarantee her tentacles go pretty far.
I see Jamie has his hands up, and one of the things I'd like Carmen to know and everyone else to know is that, we're all just like, we're truckers. I own a trucking company, and Jake is, he has his own company, and Jamie, we're not, how can I put this? We're not politicians. We don't know how to sign people up to vote. We don't know how to rally people. All of this is, testing the waters. Like, we throw a little hook out there, and we see if people are interested in it, and if they are, we run with it, because we really don't have much experience with that type of thing. So all the support that we could get, we appreciate from everyone. We know what we want to do. We know what people want to see. Making it happen is like a different story. So we depend on a lot of advice and help from other people to get certain things done, because that is not like what we do. So yes, I do appreciate any help that you could give us. Absolutely.
Go ahead, Texas.
Good evening, y'all. Woo, boy, I'm tuckered out, man. My tire's hanging out, y'all. I tucked it back in about 2 o'clock today, but I think it's untuckable now. Man, it's awesome, dude. I've shaken so many hands and patted so many backs and gotten patted on the back so many times in the last 2 days, man. Even in the truck stops, we was in the truck stop walking out the truck this morning. Guys come up, y'all are y'all in OOA? Are y'all NOAA? Yeah, we're NOAA. Talk to them. They come up here to the truck show and they signed up, man. Dude, the support that we had, I figured we would be completely unknown, but I was really, really, really surprised how many people come by searching us out that knew about us and knew we was here. And some of them come all the way up here in there just to see us, you know what I mean? Just to hang out with us. I had one lady talking about, are you going to give a speech? Are you going to give a speech? I'm like, oh, I'm speeched out, honey. I'm speeched out. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn. But it's really great, man. We had a good time, man. We met a lot of people. Even some of the bigger trucking companies, 150, 200 trucks approached us and support what we're doing and talking about want to work with us. So, man, I'm like I said in my post, brother, I'm humbled by this, man. It was great. It's definitely an experience that I have never experienced in my life. but we done well, man. We represented. We put the information out there all day, both days, to everybody that come by and asked. Everybody wanted to listen, or if you walked by and looked at the booth over 2 or 3 seconds, they was getting the earful of who we was and what we was doing nonstop. Yeah, like I said, it's just a humbling experience, man. We appreciate all y'all do as well, man. Y'all are a big part of us. I got to meet Alex, Mother Trucker, and shook his hand, took a little short video with him, took him a sticker over there and gave him a sticker and told him, I said, Mike, send his regards. So he did get the message, Mike, and he said he appreciates and he sends them back. Just meeting people and doing things, influential people in the industry, man. It's amazing, dude. I'm going to park it there, man. I'm tired. I'm wore out, but let's talk about it, man. I'm sharing the group out, trying to get everybody else up in here. Appreciate y'all.
It's awesome, man. I knew you were pushing hard, and it would be a hard road to haul, but you did it, and you're through it. So get your rest, brother. I saw your videos, though. They were awesome.
I've got a bunch of shorts that I took just for y'all that I'm going to send to Marlon. A little short, 1-2 minutes. I think Caitlin took some, and I don't know if Jake did or not. Jake took some longer videos yesterday. Maybe we can break up and get them where we can send them back and forth so they're not so long. I took a couple long ones, but I did take some short ones. I went up to the Houston police here and the LaPorte police and shook their hand and told them who he was and told them we supported them, that we backed the blue. Like most of Texas does, and it was pretty cool. I got to clown around with them. I told them they had a nice, beautiful squad car, and I said, that's a beautiful car. I'm just proud I ain't in the back of it. You know what I mean? So it was great, man. And I told them, I let them know we support them fully, and they're good for us too, man. So it was good.
Yeah, I found it's a real bear to get those videos to each other and to get them where you want them to go. So one of the ways you could do it is like what you did, do it in a tweet, and because it's coming from your device, you can do it directly to Twitter, and then we could embed those videos on the site from Twitter. It refers back to your account anyways in your tweet, but at least it gets that video seen, and there's ways to do that. And then you could give those videos somehow to the web developers and do it on your site, or somehow they can take the raw video and put them up on your site and stuff to help. Because, content like that, like what you were doing, is great. And it just really shows that you're on the ground doing it and you're meeting people, and it's great stuff, man. I can't wait to see more. I threw Michael a mic. I don't know if he wants to come up and say, hey, Michael, see you down.
Got you.
Oh, well, that's another Michael. Sorry, you're sorry, Michael. I was calling it another Michael, but yeah, there you are. Go ahead,
Hey,
sir.
man, just wanted to say happy Sunday to everybody. I don't join the Twitter space as much, but happy Sunday. Nice seeing you guys all.
Yeah, that's Michael Alvarez. Michael is head of the compliance division. He doesn't come on much. We'd like to have him on more, but he's really busy helping people stay in compliance, dealing with audits and the FMCSA and DOT issues. So things get kind of serious and take up a lot of his time. But yes, that's Michael Alvarez. He handles the compliance division. There's a lot of people involved with the association that, we don't see much because they're kind of behind the scenes or very busy. But that's one of the reasons why I was very glad that, the people that stepped up and manned the truck show this weekend did, because we're all just kind of like, we got our hands full, but we know that people want to meet us and see us and speak to us in person. So we're definitely going to make that effort to get out there. And I think that also shows the importance of having offices in as many states as we can, where people could just, go to their local, NOAA office and speak to someone there and get answers to questions and stuff like that. So, yeah, I see Michael is in here as well.
Yeah, Mike, I'm here.
Hey, I want to say something. I was at the show. This is Jake. I was at the show, and I talked to that auditor for the FMCSA for a little over an hour. And I didn't get a whole lot of really good information out of him as far as answers to questions. I asked him things like, what are they doing about enforcing this rule? And it was just a lot of runaround, talking in circles kind of stuff. He would explain something about the industry that is blatantly obvious, that meant nothing. The whole story that I got out of them is they have no idea what they're doing, and they don't care, and that we need to do the right thing and send them the policy that we want enforced, and they're going to look at it. That's basically what I got from him. So I just want to let everybody know that straight from the FMCSA's mouth, they have no idea what they're doing about the broker transparency law. That was straight from his mouth. And that if we want some policy, that we need to send it in so that they can know what we're looking for, basically. So we're going to be working on that with the association. It's going to be driven, though, for the right purpose, and we're going to have to go about it the right way. It's not just going to be a wide blanket thing that, just in a bunch of generalities. It's going to be specific. And me and Mike's already talked about it a little bit. It's something that we're going to discuss over the next couple of weeks, and we're going to get something together and start putting some policy in front of them that we expect them to follow. I told him that, that we are going to be writing policy, and we expect the FMCSA to follow it because we have an interest in the industry. So they said get it together and send it to them. But that's all I got to say about that. The FMCSA right now, though.
Jake, to your point, I think being more proactive sometimes is better. So at least now they have an idea that it's going to be coming down. Just splashing them, giving them a heads up, I think that's huge.
Yeah, I took it that his position on things on this broker transparency issue was kind of like, it sounded like the brokers had been talking to them a little bit, because they said, well, it's not really the broker's fault if you take that cheap rate. That was one of the words, something that came out of his mouth. And yeah, I was like, listen, man, for a fact that we're getting monopolized by these brokers, and there's not much we can do about it if you guys don't enforce anything. I said, we're just kind of at their, mercy. And I said, you guys aren't enforcing nothing, and I was like, what do you plan to do to enforce this broker transparency law? He's like, I have no idea. Basically that's exactly what he said. So they said, if we want some policy, we need to get it together and make it specific, no generalities, and get it sent into them. So that was something that was positive, and that was that part of that hour-long chat. But I ended up going back to their table, talking to a different auditor, and I asked her about, where do you file that complaint? And that took about 10 minutes to get them to go on their own website and figure out that there's no place to even file a complaint. So, I had some good interaction with them today that opened their eyes, but I don't know how far up the chain of command it's going to go. You almost feel like you're fighting against a tidal wave of idiots out here that just don't know any better, So, but I'm glad that we got our names out there the way we did today. A lot of people stopped by, asked us who we are, and everybody is excited that we're finally taking a stand, and we're doing it the way that we're doing it. If we had 150,000 members, this problem would have been done a long time ago. We're out here fighting tooth and nail for every member that we can get because we're so new and not a lot of people know us yet. But that's what we're going to do until we get some change in the industry. We're going to fight tooth and nail. We're not going to sit back and collect money and go to lunch with a bunch of businessmen and politicians. And, we're out here to change the industry from a grassroots level. I'm glad we got here to this Texas Truck Show. It kicked our butts. I'm telling you, it's tiring being out here, shaking hands and telling people and about the industry and telling people about the association. It's just about educating people, getting our name out there, love for one another, love for the industry, and service to the industry, service to one another. That's we got to remember that that's what our core is about, helping each other to change the industry, helping the industry. And it's easy to get out here and get distracted and go down some rabbit trail trying to fight something that doesn't even matter. We're out here. Our sole purpose for being out here right now is broker transparency. So that's our start. That's our core focus right now. All these members that we're signing on and all these services that we're giving them, it's so that we can go change the main problem in the industry. When that's done, we're going to focus on the next thing. We don't know what that is yet. There's a ton of it to pick from, but as soon as we get this broker transparency issue fixed, we're going to move on to the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. And we're not going to stop. We're going to fight tooth and nail till we get there. So that's it. I'm going to leave it right there.
It's funny, Jake. People say, hey, what's MAGA mission going to do after we make America great again? Is it ever going to be that great that we just quit and say, hey, it's all better now? I don't think it's ever going to come to that point. So to your point, Jake, it never stops. Okay, Chris.
Hey, I just want to say thanks to Jamie, Jake, Caitlin, Jennifer, everybody that went to the truck show. You guys did great. All the posts you guys did, awesome. Also, on what Marlon said, I really don't think it's going to stop. And even if it does, we still got to keep doing it. Otherwise, it's going to get back to where we're at right now. And I'll leave it there.
I'm sorry, I'm in here as the quiet person in the room. I kind of popped in. It's your meeting. I'm just doing what I do here. So just to let you know, it's not a bot. It's actually me. Thanks, Mag and Marlon for asking me to co-host with you guys. And I'll shut my mouth now. But you guys have a good meeting. If you need me, I'll get in.
I was just going to turn to you.
Well, it was such a quiet gap. I figured since it wasn't actually occupying something with Mike or Jay, I figured I'd just jump in right there. But thank you very much. And I'll be quiet now.
Yeah, Michael. Oh, I'm sorry. AD.
I don't have to go by AD in here. I'm going to change my name to Crazy, but I haven't figured out how yet. Anyway, I think it was Chris that was talking, but he already took my point. I was going to say that even if we think it's over, it's never over because somebody's going to be trying to stab us in the back, on the backside, and we need to stay vigilant.
Amen, Michael.
Yeah, we need to have our heads on swivels. Yeah, Mike.
The trucking industry is such a lucrative industry. There's so many people that are behind the scenes working very hard to try to keep, things the way that they are. And, even if we get certain things changed, they're going to be figuring out a way to get things back to the point where they can continue stealing money from us. Like Jake said, this rule has been on the books for a minute and it hasn't been enforced. And it's, you run up on these guys in public and they got, their eyes are wide open. You know what I mean? And it's like, they know, you know what I mean? They know, they come back with these smart ass comments and, they know. And it's okay. Eventually things will change. And, just like Mike said, we have to stay vigilant. We have to keep pushing. And, we got to keep fighting, and we don't plan on quitting. I made a commitment to this, way back when I started the boycott on March 6th. I said, I'm not giving up. I'm never going to stop. I'm going to keep going. I don't know what the end game is here. There's so many issues that we need to address in the trucking industry that there's no way to even see an end game. You know what I mean? So we're going to, like Jake said, we're going to start with broker transparency. My biggest thing is the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, as I'm sure everyone knows. And there's a lot of other issues that we need to focus on. Speed limiters, ELDs. I want them to take another look at that because I don't think that actually benefits us or the highways. It doesn't make highways safer. I want them to take another look at that. There's a lot of issues. Truck parking issues, which we know is a very big issue. So, it never stops. It never ends. But we're going to stay vigilant and we're not going to give up. And we're going to keep pushing and we're going to keep getting the word out there. And as we grow, it's just going to be easier for us and more difficult for them. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah, I like the proactive with the FCSMA or that group that you guys are telling them that legislation's coming down. That's that's substantial. That's actual change coming.
I actually asked the FMCSA officer. I said, "Do you guys remember when you ran out of toilet paper?" I said, "If it's going to continue down this path, we're not going to be able to afford to start our trucks and bring toilet paper." You know what I mean? So I don't know if he thought I was serious or not, but at some point, if something doesn't change, we're going to have to fix the industry in a different manner. I don't know what to say about that. I don't want to go down that path too far, but I'm just telling you, we can't afford to run our trucks at $1.50 a mile. The information just came out on Friday or maybe Thursday. It's $2.25 a mile to run your truck going down the road. All these brokers putting crap out there at $1.50 a mile. All these shippers expecting stuff for free. Now it's time to pay the Pied Piper. We're not going to sit here and take this no more. If you're not a member of our association, you should stop what you're doing and go to www.tnooa.com right now and sign up, because we're out here to change the industry. And I don't want to feel like I'm just wasting my breath jumping around like a crazy guy saying, "Hey, we're trying to change the industry. This is what we're doing." I don't want to feel like it's all wasted. So we need people, and this is a legitimate thing. We're not out here getting rich off of this. Trust me. We're giving up a lot, and it's coming between our family, because we're putting so much effort into this, and we're so serious about it. They're wondering why weren't we this serious about stuff before? Well, it's because we see we got to fight, and we see we got a chance of winning. So I encourage people to join our association. Pay those quarterly dues, because that's what keeps us in Washington. This is grassroots, organic. We're just now getting started, and we got a good movement behind us. We got a chance. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. It may be a long tunnel, but I see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's one day at a time for us. So www.tnooa.com. Join us.
Yeah, but it'll make it a little lighter. We all remember the Blues Brothers when they're in the church and the light comes through the church. And James Belushi's back there. I see the light. The band.
I love that movie.
Well, there's always an inflection point where you come to that awakening, and it takes years to get there. But you guys, you're on it. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Jake, I just wanted to let you know we're all a little crazy, but as far as your other comment, ADHD again, but I've totally lost my train of thought. What were you saying at the beginning? Remind me. Oh yeah, toilet paper. You shouldn't have told them the toilet paper is not going to be there. You should have told them they ain't going to need the toilet paper because there's going to be nothing produced for the toilet paper.
Yeah, they got to eat before they can take a dump, right?
10-4, BP, 10-4.
Carmen.
Oh, hey, I'm sorry. Doing like six things at one time. I think it was Jay that said it, but why wasn't it this serious before? That question it was asked to me by my children. And listen, I'm not a trucker, but I grew up on a farm and John B. Thomas Farms, and we prime backer, and we sold it, and we hauled it, do the sales in different states. And so my uncle, I mean, I'm sorry, excuse me, my grandfather owned a trucking company, 18 wheelers. So this was a long time ago. So I just grew up doing all this, and with my appreciation with what all y'all do. But all this, everything that y'all are talking about reflects back to the same thing that I'm out here doing for what's going on with the children, the indoctrination of the children. I mean, Jay, you said it perfectly. Everything, and Mike, and I mean, every one of y'all said it perfectly. The same thing you're doing within the NAA is the same thing all citizens that are concerned citizens and are ready to stand up and fight the fight and push back, push back, and don't give in. And that's it. I think Mike said it. I've signed up for it. I promise you, it's gonna get done until I take my last breath. That's the only thing that's gonna get me out of it. And so I say that because my daughter asked me the same thing. Why is it this serious? Why wasn't it this serious before? It was, Chloe. It really was. But we didn't see it. We just didn't see it. And they were really smart the way they did it. And then bam, here it is. And so I feel you. I'm right there with you. And I'm walking with everyone. I want to walk with anyone that wants to walk this walk with me. And we, the people, are the only people that are going to make these big changes within y'all's association. And so I'm going to go sign up. Not a trucker, but I can also be someone in that back end. Like Mike says, you don't know how to register voters. I can help you with that.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. I was just going to say that to you. You want to help register some voters, we'll take that help for sure. Because, ultimately, I want to have an office in every state. But the really, in my opinion, the best way to go about this is put an office in major truck stops, so that we can service owner operators, get them, answers to questions, register more than just owner operators to vote. All them drivers out there need to be aware of the problems that we go through, and they need to be involved with changing things, because otherwise it's just, like I said, a bunch of crazy guys out here not really making a difference. So yeah, it would be awesome if you came on board and helped register people to vote, so we can start getting some of these some of these people that don't belong in office out of office, and some of these policies enforced. You know what I mean? We definitely need some help at the base here. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. And we do. And so that's where it's like you said, grassroots movement. It's the local level up. You have to start within our local communities, and we have to move up to the state level, and then we go up to the national, et cetera, et cetera. And so it's important to start getting, like you're going to need the people in the background that obviously are, don't drive the trucks, but that have knowledge on the other issues at hand that can help get you to the right people in the community and in the state and in the et cetera, and national and so forth. So God bless you all. I know the fight is hard. I know how it upsets the family. Mom, why aren't you here? But you know what? I'm doing it for them. I'm doing it for the generations to come. And so, as I say, God bless you all, and I definitely will sign up. And anything I can do, I'll be there to help. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Mike, go ahead. You got your hand up, buddy.
Yeah, what I was gonna say was, I was gonna respond to the question of why are we doing it now? It's a very good question. It's almost like, that perfect storm. Fuel rates are through the roof. Cost of parts is through the roof. Cost of labor through the roof. Just everything is through the roof. Our taxes, everything. It's difficult to keep these trucks on the road. The rates are down, and it's like a perfect storm. So that's why it's happening now. And usually, over the years, you've had associations like the TIA and ATA and all these other, associations, with their talking points. They knew exactly what to say to get people to say, oh, okay, so that's why. All right, well, I'll just keep going until they say things get better. And we're in a situation now where it's like, it's the perfect storm. They can't sell the usual talking points. The first 5 years after the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, the government was very smart. They watched it. It was built inside the act that periodically they had to watch it and make sure that, the fraud didn't go out of control. So written into the act was that they'd had to revisit it for the first 5 years periodically. And after that 5 years passed and new administrations came in, they just said the hell with it. And then by 1996, they got rid of the ICC and they brought in the FMCSA, and the FMCSA couldn't care less about it. You know what I mean? So, we're here now at this point where they can't contain it anymore. The rampant fraud, the rampant, ripping off of owner operators and independent truckers, it's out of control. I mean, Jake just said it. I mean, I had one guy send me a text today, of a load that a broker tried to get him to do. It was almost 1,100 miles at like $1.07 a mile, and a 42,000 pound load. That load is a loss. It's a loss no matter who does it. It's a loss. And for the broker to feel emboldened enough to put that load on a load board and try to get some poor sucker to do it under the thought that, it's a free market. His response was, that's the market rate. You know what I mean? Really? The market rate means that I have to take a loss? And this has been going on for decades. It started in 1980, slowly but surely, you started to see truckers, owner-operators' income dropping. Then the first 10 years, it was, owner-operators' income was down 38% after the Motor Carrier Act of 1980 went into effect. And now we're here to this point now where we're struggling to just, eat, let alone pay for a flat tire or a new turbo or pay our bills. We could barely eat out here. So, why is it happening now? Because, we're at the point where our backs are up against the wall, and now it's crunch time. Bottom line, it's a perfect storm, and I'll leave it right there.
Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, first off, I wanted to ask, is Carmen the one that does Shepherd's Watch? Is that her or is that Brandy? Who is that?
Yeah, that's Brandy.
Okay. All right. That's what I thought. Anyway, I wanted to add to Mike's perfect storm. People need to realize we lost about 1/3 to almost half of our produce this year. We lost all the strawberries in California. You lost 75% of the peaches in Georgia, and the list just keeps on going on and on. And the perfect storm for that is all those people did cheap freight because they knew they had their bread and butter to go to when produce started. Well, produce isn't starting, and all those people are losing their trucks too. So the perfect storm is all of it's happening at once, and either something's going to be done about it, and we're going to get back in control of what's always been ours, or again, like I said, you won't need to worry about toilet paper. That'll be the least of your worries.
Well, that's kind of like when COVID happened. People weren't prepared for that. The America. That's why I say it a lot. That's why we ran out of toilet paper. And something just like produce season not kicking off. That's just like the perfect storm, like he was saying. People, it's time to pay the Pied Piper. And when it comes along, some people are going to be able to last a little longer. Some people are going to make it through it. But the ones that have been taking these cheap rates, it's just a race to the bottom with the brokers, and that's all that's going to happen to them. They're going to end up on the bottom. So it is not beneficial for anyone to be out here entertaining a thought or entertaining a broker that wants to pay you $1.50 a mile. That's not a way to run a business. You shouldn't be out here. I don't like you if you do something like that because you're dangerous to the rest of us. You're hurting the rest of us. Not to say I don't like people. I'm just saying you're just not a very good person for doing something like that because you're just perpetuating the problem that we have out here. So, if people want change, starts with everybody individually, and we all have a responsibility to do the right thing in life. And that a lot of that is complacency on our part of, oh, well, I did it before and it worked. And a lot of it is, they're trapped and they get monopolized and manipulated. And it's all a downhill slope, people. I hate to say it, but there's going to be people in here that are listening that by the time this market correction is over with, they won't be a truck driver anymore. Statistically, that's just the way it is. So we all need to pull our bootstraps up and do the right thing and stop taking all this cheap freight and turn in these brokers that they know are doing the wrong thing, double brokering loads. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. The louder we get, the more attention we're going to bring to the issue. And that's what we need. We need members and we need attention to the issue because we know what we're pinpointing is the correct thing that needs to be fixed. It's like Mike said earlier, we just got to figure out which way to go and tweak it here and there. So I'll leave it at that. Genesis, you want to speak?
Yeah, I just had a couple questions. Thank you all for the chance to just share and ask some questions. I came from the corporate industry and have always liked to help corporations, enterprises change industry and also help leaders transform themselves and the industry. And so I'm listening, for the past few weeks, I've been listening to this trucking industry, and I'm just trying to get a good understanding because it sounds like you have a wonderful vision. And so I had a couple of questions. There was one comment I made about changing the industry. And so I wanted to ask, who knows like the current state of the trucking industry? Like what is the percentage of independent owners versus, I would call it an enterprise type trucking organization? And let me tell you what I mean by that, because I don't know the language like you all know. I just know markets and enterprise. When I was growing up, my uncle used to work for a company called Carolina Freight, and both my uncles worked for a company called Carolina Freight. They were out of Cherryville, North Carolina. And so all I used to see was Carolina Freight everywhere. And so what
Yeah.
that reminded me of is leverage. So I wanted to know, is there a type of enterprise now that has leverage or has a majority of the market share? Is there anything like that going on, or how has the
Well,
industry changed?
well, what I think you're asking about is what you seen when you were a kid was brand recognition, because that's what you've seen a lot of. 85% of the industry is owner operators, small business owners. I don't remember the exact numbers, but most of them's under 6 units, under 6 trucks. A large percentage of them. So the 15% of the industry is that brand recognition, where it's Swifts, Warner, JB Hunt. So if that answers your question, if it doesn't, let me know.
No, it
Well,
does, because I think that's, I think this undermining, the brokers undermining the industry and the mileage, a lot of times that can happen when any company, I don't know if it's trucking, but just in any organization, if it's divided to a point where there is no brand recognition, like one predominant or a couple of predominant companies. Let's take Amazon, for example. Amazon was a book. I'm just using this because I don't know the trucking industry yet, but it won't take me long to learn it. But Amazon was a bookstore. Okay, they were not a technology type cloud computing company. Then what happened? Amazon started having these. Jeff Bezos started having these experiments where, okay, let's go into the industry and transform. So they started. You saw them getting into logistics. Amazon started just buying trucks. They were really into the shipping supply chain industry, and they started just taking over like shipping. So you can buy anything you need to buy locally in Amazon in a few hours. Even though they call it Amazon, behind it is logistics. And so they started getting that brand recognition. They started using technology to be able to figure out how can you get things somewhere quicker, blah, 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 blah. Eventually, they started to have that brand recognition or that market, that leverage. And so now you have the United States Postal Service, you have DHL, you have all these companies that started to see it. So, I think maybe something like that is happening somewhere or can happen. And then the second thing is about technology. That was my second question. Who is the primary technology company that can actually help with the laws, the brokers, all that type of thing? So those were the two questions I had. Was one, what's the market look like, current state? And number two, how is technology helping to really look at the data so that way you can use that to go against these brokers and have some leverage?
Mike, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'm
hey,
gonna.
real quick, Mike, let me give her a number real quick, Mike.
Say that again?
3.5 million trucks on the road are owner operators. So to give you that number of the 80%, it's 3.5 million trucks. Sorry, Mike.
You're all good, brother. First off, I appreciate the question. I don't know who the speaker is. I think it was Genesis. I appreciate your interest in this issue. I'd like to go back to 1996 when Jeff Bezos decided to take Amazon public. So yes, Amazon was originally his baby. He put together to try to take out Barnes and Nobles and sell books online. Jeff Bezos is a crook. He is an abuser of labor. He's also a billionaire opportunist like Elon Musk and many other billionaire opportunists. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I'm a very honest person, so I'm going to call it the way it is. He saw that like many other billionaires, he saw a way to break into another billion-dollar industry, which was very loosely regulated, and the players at the time were very stupid. JB Hunt, C.H. Robinson, all these other weak public companies. He saw an opportunity to break into that space and grab market share because he had a lot of money that he raised from his initial public offering back in 1996, I believe it was, or 1990. Let me see, my mother died in 96. 96. Yeah, I think it was 97 Amazon went public. I'm not really sure. That's pretty much the story with Amazon. When he originally started out, he was very smart. Yes, he did buy trailers and trucks, and people were fighting with themselves trying to pull loads for Amazon because he was paying well at the time. And then but then we realized that was his plan. He revamped everything, and he came up with Amazon. What do they call it now? Amazon
Prime.
Prime.
No, not Amazon Prime.
Relay.
That's Amazon. It's Amazon Prime for you,
Relay.
as on the retail side. But for us, yes, thank you. Whoever's Amazon Relay, which is garbage. Amazon Relay is garbage. And if you go on to, I'm an Amazon, I have a contract with Amazon. I do not carry loads for Amazon anymore because Amazon is the one place that you can go to their load board and you will actually see loads that he will pay you $60, 60, to bring your tractor to his facility, hook up to one of his shit trailers, and deliver it somewhere for $60. As soon as I turn the key on my truck, that's $100 in diesel fuel down the drain. So, yes, Jeff Bezos is a lowlife, just like a lot of other lowlife billionaires in this country. And I'm going to just leave that right there. He saw an opportunity to break into a multi-billion-dollar industry and grab market share. And it was very easy for him because the players in this industry are pretty much doing the same thing he's doing, and they're stupid and they don't care because the government gives them the ability to do that. Now, before 1980, it was not that easy. And anyone who's a day over 50 will agree with that. Before 1980, Jeff Bezos would have not been able to do what he did very easily. But because of the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, guys like him are doing it all the time. So, it is what it is. And, like the vice president of the National Owner Operators Association said, we're here now and we are going to get in their face and we are going to let them know. I'm not as nice as Jake. So, you want to meet Jake and, talk nice. That's great. Jake's the guy to talk to. That's why I'm glad he showed up in Texas, because if I would have been there, I'd have probably been getting dragged out in handcuffs. So I'm going to leave it right there.
No, that's good. Thank you. Because that's what I kind of saw. Like, this is me seeing, I think I'm seeing things in the industry like that. You got people like Jeff Bezos who's coming in. These corporations, I'm telling you, these corporations like Amazon, Microsoft, IBM, the consulting firms, Accenture, Deloitte, EY, they have these graduates that come in and they know the markets, they know how to change industry and markets, and they do it for the wrong reasons. And so I kind of started seeing like Amazon is changing the trucking industry. I saw Amazon is changing the retail industry, how you buy. So you started seeing brick and mortar stores go out of business. You started seeing the impact on just your government type systems. So that was one of the things I had an assumption about. So you cleared it up, and I appreciate it because I love your passion, because that's what it's going to take to bring the truckers together to understand that. How do you come together to compete against these lowlifes?
Yeah, and let me explain. You see, that one-day delivery is at the expense of somebody. Let's talk about Amazon Prime, and let's talk about Costco, and let's talk about Walmart, and let's talk about what's the other garbage one over there? BJ's. Let's talk about this. This cheap stuff is at the expense of someone. Nothing is free in this world. A one-day delivery is at the expense of someone. Somebody's paying for that delivery, and usually it's the trucker getting screwed. Those cheap prices you see on the shelf at Walmart, Costco's, BJ's, that's all compliments of a truck driver getting screwed. Having to deliver that for $1 a mile. It didn't just get cheap. Somebody got screwed. And that's the way this works. I'll leave that right there.
So let me ask you one question. Now I'm gonna let it go because this is good. It's helping me understand. This is my assumption. Anytime an industry is divided to a point where you have, let's say, one person versus 100 per people, I feel like sometimes the independency, the silo, the one person, if that one person says, I'm going to accept this low rate, then you got another one person. By the time you add that up, that's 100 people saying, I'm going to accept this low rate. How can NOAA start to pull all these independent owners together? I'm not saying take their money from them, but band together so we'll have more leverage and use technology that, basically I'm not taking that route. And the other 100 or 1,000 of us are not taking it either. Or is there anything going on around that?
You see, you know what? I'll tell you. Before the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, the Teamsters had this trucking industry locked down. The truck drivers could actually make a living, feed their families, grow their families. The American dream was still there. If you didn't do well in school or you didn't have a college degree or whatever, you could fall back on becoming a truck driver and still live the American dream before 1980. Now, what the Carter administration did was, if you look at the Motor Carrier Act of 1980, they call it a deregulation act. But really, it only did a few things. They didn't change much in the trucking industry. What they did, the biggest change with that act was they lowered the barrier to entry. They said no longer do you have to prove that you have the brains, the money, the capability to own a truck or drive a truck or start a trucking company. You just have to have $300 and the will to want to be a truck driver. It was a very ingenious piece of legislation. By doing this, they were able to get people to come into the industry that had no idea what they were doing and start negotiating rates with people that knew exactly what they were doing. Okay? And every year for the last 43 years, we've been getting more and more and more of these people coming in and going out, coming in and going out. And it's been a revolving door of suckers for them. So that's what that act did. It made sure that there was always going to be a revolving door of people with little to no knowledge coming into the trucking industry. So it's very difficult for us to fight these rates because, like you said, there's 100 people out there willing to carry that load for $1 a mile because they don't know any better. They don't know what their cost per mile is. And that's what that act did. That's exactly what the Carter administration designed that act to do. And every administration after him has been running with it. Thank you.
Iceman.
Yeah. Mike, you're spot on for 90% of that one. But think about the fact that, oh, excuse me, let me mute a second. Back in the day, I started riding with my cousin at 16 years old during the summer. I actually cut my teeth on a very nice piece of equipment, a Peterbilt, long nose, West Coaster, 18 speed, 4 1/4 cat. yeah, I was driving, only the highway portions, of course. I mean, at 16, I really was nowhere near where I would be driving within, the confines of a city. But back then, my cousin lived very well, owned over an acre of property in a suburb, had a 5,000 square foot house, had every toy he wanted for when he wasn't working. Back then, but the biggest thing was him, my uncle, my other uncle. They didn't do it as a fallback. They had all completed high school. Some had gone on to try college. Maybe they realized it wasn't for them. But they did realize that they were still part of being the American cowboy. Let that one sink in. Back in my day, if you were a full-time trucker, you were considered a cowboy. You were somebody that was revered for what you did. And people went into the industry because they really wanted to. They wanted to experience what the Old West, the cattle drive, which that was the basic form of moving all freight back then, wagon trains. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm taking up your meeting, but I just had to throw something out there from the 70s. I drove for a while, basically under him. I went on to drive for a couple of companies, and I found out in a 2 year period, no, this isn't my industry, only because I was getting paid by the mile. Even with company equipment, I was getting shafted every week. And on that, I'll shut up. Thank you very much for the mic, and MAGA, Marlon, thanks for asking me to co-host, and there's my 2 cents for the day.
Okay, throw it in there, Mike, and we'll go to Texas.
Yeah, I see Ranger as well. Really quickly, Iceman, I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm not feeling too good today. This is a political issue. I do not want anyone to misconstrue this. This is a political issue. 150, 200%. This is all going to come down to Washington, and we are getting prepared. This is a political issue. You've got these clowns like AOC and who's the one here in New York? This Chuck Schumer and all these jerk offs. They want to save the earth at our expense. They never mention trucks. They're walking around in their nice suits that they get off the rack that comes from a truck. They're driving around in these limousines or whatever they're driving around in, or the fuel gets delivered by a truck. They're so two-faced. This is a political issue, okay? And we've had enough of it. All right, we've had enough of being on the shit end of the stick in this country. And the bottom line is, it's like Jake said, there's a lot of people in this country that did not know who the National Owner Operators Association. And just like there's a lot of people in this country that didn't know who we are, we know there's a lot of people in this country that do not know how bad we're getting screwed. But we also know that they're very smart. And they know that that shit that's on the shelf that they buy comes by a truck. And here in this country, we support the people that take care of us, like our military, like our law enforcement, like our truck drivers. But the mainstream media doesn't get this message out there, right? So we need to do it ourselves, and that takes a little longer. And what we need is intelligent people like Genesis, like Carmen, like a lot of other people to help us get this message out there. Because we know we're getting treated this way, and this has been allowed to happen for the last 4 decades because the American public just does not know how the trucking industry works. It is a fraud on monumental levels, and it is a fraud that is being helped. It is being perpetrated along with the help of the federal government. I'll park it right there.
Yeah, Texas. Mic drop.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on Genesis and go a little deeper into the technology side of what's going on, because my mic did presenting good and everybody else did, but it goes a lot deeper than that. Like today, Jake didn't even know I went over to Truck Stop's booth, and I was talking to Truck Stop, and I'm like, yeah, I've loaded a lot of loads off y'all's board, you know, and I get to talking to them and introduce myself and tell them who I am. They don't have no idea who I am, of course, but I said, yeah, I've been using y'all, or you're using us currently? Oh no, we just upstaged the website. So I asked them specifically the same question that I asked Dad. You know, we had a member come in the group and ask a question or make a statement about that, and they said that called the broker was offering a ridiculously low rate on the lane, and the broker, like always, referred back to that and said, well, that's the average on that lane. Well, the guy had a problem with it, so the broker told him, well, call that. Well, I don't know if the guy did, but I did. I called Dad. Asked them how they got their analytics, okay? And what I was told was that they take the highest price load off the board and they throw it out. They don't even consider that one. And then they take the rest of the lanes, the loads in that lane, and they average out the top 5% and the bottom 5% to come up with their average, 5% of the loads. And so today I asked Truck Stop, I said, well, how does y'all's analytics work? Oh, we've got the latest technology. We're using brokers, and a lot of it comes from our factoring service. So anybody that knows anything about trucking, factoring is a percentage you pay to get next day or the following day pay on loads that you can't wait 30, 60, 90 days on. So you pay this factoring company a percentage. Well, most of your owner operators and independents are not using Truck Stop for factoring. But this is what the man told me. Okay, this is a Truck Stop representative, the guru, the main technician. He tells me, well, you know, we use a lot of it comes off of our factoring service. Well, you know what? 3.5 million trucks out here that's running. A very, 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 very small amount of them people are using Truck Stop factoring. Now, a vast majority of them are using the Truck Stop load board to book freight, but there's not a way that you can go on that load board and put what you actually move the load for. So they put the rate up there, the brokers put the rate up there, and they show the load coverage. They're beating us up with technology. The brokers, the technology is all geared toward giving the brokers the technological advantage to beat us over the head. If you go to UITA, if you go to TIA, which TIA, of course, is all brokers, but if you go to ATA, all your different organizations, the brokers are sprinkled in there. They have no desire to change things because it would cost them money. And even some of your gurus in trucking, we all know who I'm talking about if you've been in the spaces. He's a broker. His wife's a broker. But he wants to come in and speak about how, and he's supposed to be pro-trucker, about how the only problem is supply and demand. It ain't got nothing to do with brokers. So the brokers own the technology. The brokers are using that technology to beat us up with. And I mean, the technological side, as far as the carrier concerned, is you've got your ELD and you've got your routing. You got safety compliance that comes off your ELD or other avenues, but it has nothing related to what controls the market. Everything that controls the market is related back to the brokers, not your carriers. It's terrible. They're using it to kill us. They're using it to put us out of business. I'm gonna park it there.
All right, let's go to Ranger. Ranger, how you doing tonight?
I'm not doing too bad. I did want to touch on the Motor Act 1980. Offer a little bit extra information for that lady that asked the question. So before that act came into place, to be a carrier, you had to prove there was a reason for you to have a particular lane. And we can call a lane, say, Dallas to Atlanta, for example. And you had to prove that you needed that lane for a particular commodity. Say it was raw steel, or maybe structural steel or something. And before the act came into play, all you could carry was that particular commodity on that particular lane. At that point, there was no such thing as what brokers now call a backhaul. And the idea of the backhaul is, oh, well, you got out here at a good rate, we'll send you back at a cheap rate, which is nonsense because these days, every part of the trip is a primary part of the trip. It is all a full steam ahead. This is my run. This is what I'm doing. There's no real such thing as a backhaul. It's just terminology they like to use to be cheap. But that was the primary difference of the Motor Act in 1980 was when they deregulated that portion of it, they said, hey, look, you no longer have to prove that there's a need for this. We're no longer going to limit you on what commodities you can carry, and you can run any lanes that you want to. And what they were hoping was that it would free up the market so that freight could move better. The impact it had, that was where we're at today, and it's really caused the entire trucking market to kind of crumble. I'll leave it there.
Why? Keep going. You're doing an excellent job. Please let him finish.
No, I'm just, that's it. That's just it. I mean, it's, that's really all I had to say on it. It was just want to clarify what it was like before 1980 and that, you know, the change that happened and the effect of it. I mean, obviously where we're at today was never the federal government's probably real intention was to destroy the market and destroy people's lives. It's more, I would think it's more of an unintended consequence. I mean, obviously they should have done stuff way before today and corrected course. And that is obviously what these guys are trying to work on.
I wish I could give you 100, Rager. I don't know why I can't, but that's an excellent response to that because that's the total truth. My take on it was a Hail Mary by Jimmy Carter because he was getting his ass kicked by Ronald Reagan because he's an idiot. And he knew he wasn't going to win that second term that he thought he was born to get. And he didn't. So he was trying to steal a playbook out of Jimmy Carter. He was trying to steal a Hail Mary play out of Ronald Reagan's playbook. And it didn't work because Ronald Reagan got sworn into office the very next year. The Motor Carrier Act of 1980 went into effect on July 1st. And the next year he lost and Ronald Reagan got sworn in. So it was a Hail Mary. He knew the act was garbage and it was going to destroy the trucking industry. But he figured, what the hell? It's working for Reagan. Maybe I can get another 4 years here if I try it. That's my take on it. But you're totally 100% right. That was the focus of the act. I want to respond to what Texas was saying as far as technology is concerned and truck stop and DAT. DAT gets their information from a service called Sonar. Sonar is provided by FreightWaves. FreightWaves is in the pocket of the TIA, the Transportation Intermediaries Association. Truck Stop and DAT are both on the board of directors of the TIA. The TIA is in Washington twice a month telling Congress what's best for truckers. And we're currently fighting the TIA every day at the National Owner Operators Association, trying to tell Congress that they're full of shit. All of that information on those load boards are skewed. They're skewed in the broker's favor. It's all a lie. And it's all propped up by the TIA.
Poop,
and I'll leave it right there.
Poop.
I want to say something to what Jamie said also. You know, we have the technology that these brokers are using to beat us over the head. That's what the problem is that's the only place we can get loads unless we go to a direct shipper. And 99% of people don't have any experience with that, and they don't know how to get, you know, it takes a while to get out here in the industry and actually make relationships and do a good job and start getting direct shippers. And, you know, people are out here living off the spot market. Well, they're going to be dying off the spot market, you know, I'm not saying, you know, too bad, so sad. It's just that's the nature of the beast out here. So what we have to do is, and this is why Mike's so fired up, and this is why I get so aggravated, is we got to change the mindset of these drivers that are out here suckling off that tit, you know, that TIA tit that they put out there through these truck stops and DAT and all that. We have to change the mindset that says we work for them. No, they work for us, and we have to come together and let them bring their technology to us with transparency in it. Yeah, we'll do their loads for them. We don't have any problem doing their loads, but we're going to get to see what they got paid for the load so that we can decide whether it's enough for us or not. So changing that mindset of these drivers that have been out here for a long time getting beat down, treated less than by all these brokers, and every driver out here that knows what I'm talking about when I say that, because brokers will laugh at you and hang up on you and treat you like crap and say mean stuff to you. And it's not like, I'm a little boy on the playground and I need help, because I just don't need that. But what I'm saying is these guys think it's a game to be out here talking to people sideways like that, and that's their mentality. And they think they got us over a barrel. Well, the National Owner Operators Association is here to stay. We're up and going. We're gaining members every day. We're gaining ground every day. So it's about mindset. You got to take control of your business. We can't just sit here and complain about it on Twitter all day. We got to actually do something. Not to say that we're not. I'm just saying, there has to be more than just mindless armchair quarterbacking on Sunday night, So call your senators, call your congressmen, get our name out there, join our association, tell your sisters, tell your brothers, everybody, we're here, and we're going to kick their ass. I'm sick of getting beat down at $1.50 a mile when I got I got $150,000 worth of equipment. I shouldn't be making $1.50 a mile. I didn't buy this $150,000 worth of equipment to make $1.50 a mile. And it's not like I got to live high on the hog. I don't. But I sure don't want to be at the end of the week making a $60 paycheck. I've had many a weeks where I didn't come home with nothing, but I ran all week long because fuel ate me up. I had a repair ate me up. Just incidentals that come along with being a truck driver. And that's why we can't run for $1.50 a mile. We might be able to start our truck up and go get a load and load it and go take it there for $1.50 a mile. But if we have a breakdown, one tire to replace a tire, you're looking at $500. You blow a tire, and if your profit rate is less than $500, you're screwed. You just paid them to haul their load for them, basically. And there's just too much of that out here. There's not enough of the good guy brokers out there that are really doing a good job and helping people out. It's a get-rich-quick scheme by these SOBs, and they're in there laid up in their mama's couch on the basement, laying in their underwear, booking loads, making big money, lighting cigars with $100 bills and calling us chumps. And we're the ones out here taking it, doing the work for them. Well, that shit's going to end because I'm tired of it. You see how fired up Mike gets? Yeah, I'm a nice guy, but I'm tired of it too, so I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, I just want to turn to MAGA real quick. MAGA Rice, who, sounds like, Mike, you didn't leave anything on the table, buddy. I could tell you that.
Yeah, I'm listening, and I think it's a great discussion. We've covered a lot of ground, and one of those, the inevitable, is the legislation and legislature aspect of it. Yeah, I'd like to hear from the hands and keep it rolling. Marlon, did you want to call it?
Yeah, quickly we'll go to Michael and then back to Ranger.
Okay, I'm going to start rubber banding a little bit, so if I do, just let me know, and then I'll come back in later. But I wanted to touch base on the question that wasn't answered. And she asked, what does the industry look like right now? Well, I'll tell you this much. Since January, I haven't hauled a load in my reefer that consists of food. I've hauled flowers because it's paying me enough to do it, and I'm doing a favor for somebody. Otherwise, I wouldn't be hauling those. But let's go deeper than that. My factoring company, and you just were explaining what a factoring company was. My factoring company probably shouldn't have told me, so I'm not going to say who they are. Some people know, but I'm not going to say because I don't want to get them in trouble. But they told me that their largest carrier had 35 trucks, okay? And the fuel went up by $1.10 overnight. And all of us remember what day that was. I mean, we can't pinpoint it. Some of us may be able to because it hurt so bad. But I actually wasn't running at the time. I was actually parked for 2 months at that time. But that particular carrier had 35 trucks. 26 trucks were on the road. The loads that were coming in were not enough to pay for the fuel bill because it went up $1.10 a gallon. And 26 trucks times 300 gallons, I mean, you can see where that's going. You can take a calculator and it's astronomical, but at $1.10 a mile, okay, he was not able to, or $1.10 a gallon, he was not able to pay his drivers, his truck costs, and his fuel bill by the end of the week. 26 trucks on the road. He ended up selling 3 of them because what happened was the factoring company got word back from Flying J, which is who carries our card, okay? And they said, well, our fuel bill didn't get paid. So they froze his account. So every bit of money that he was supposed to be getting coming in so he could pay for his trucks to continue going was froze. So at this point in time, he doesn't have a fuel card. He has no way to move his drivers. He's got drivers on the road. He's got trucks on the road. He's got loads on the road, and it doesn't matter. He's got no way to move them. So the trucks that are at home, he puts for sale signs on that are cheap. He just needs the money to get the trucks back home. In 1 week, 35 trucks out of business. 1 week, that's all it took. 35 trucks out of business. And that's not happening to one person. That's happening to thousands of people. 20,000 owner-operators, not trucks, owner-operators, okay? Independent contractors went out of business so far this year. 20,000. Just how many trucks are not on the road? That's where our market is today. And I'm gonna land it right there. Everybody else already covered everything. I was going to get into the technical TIA stuff, and I didn't really know how much Mike wanted me to get into that, and I'm just going to stay in the shadows. So I appreciate the time.
Well, thanks, ADD. We're good, man. You know, let's go to Ranger.
I can't remember who it was, but one of the speakers touched on, drivers entering the space. That's one of the problems I've seen, for many years is you get these company drivers that are working for, some large fleet company, and they start seeing, increased freight. They start hearing about these increased, what owner operators and small carriers, are getting for rates. And they jump in and say, hey, look, we're going to jump over from being a company driver and start being an owner operator. The problem that ends up happening is they enter the owner operator space with a company driver mentality. And they don't understand the difference that now they're no longer just working for a paycheck, they're working for their own company, and they have to treat it as if they're working for the company rather than treating it as a paycheck and living week to week. So not only do we need to approach this from a legislative point of view, but there's probably some opportunity there to start educating people that do come into the trucking industry as owner operators on the differences between, being a company driver and actually owning their own business and what it really takes.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
You sounded a little hesitant when you gave me the floor. I'm not going to curse or flip out. I'm very calm. I just spoke to my daughter, so I'm very calm. I'd like to make an announcement here. Michael Alvarez is now a famous publisher. He just released his new book, Compliant Success, Mastering the FMCSA Compliance and Accounting. Compliance Success. It is an ebook. It is available for sale. It's $5. It's on, I guess that's lulu.com. I don't know. I ain't no good reader, so I don't know. I think that's lulu.com. The book is called Mastering FMCSA Compliance and Accounting by Michael Alvarez, who is the president of the compliance division of the National Owner Operators Association. So if you get a chance, check that out. it is available for sale. And I want to touch on the services out there, the load boards. Everything Michael said is correct, actually. And Mike, you're right. I don't want to beat that dead horse with the TIA. The cat's out of the bag. Everybody knows they're a scam association, and they are pro broker, and they lie, and they do whatever they have to do in Washington to keep things the way that they are. I want to touch on the load boards, DAT, Truck Stop, companies like Sonar. I have contracts with all of these companies. I use DAT. I've been using them for years. Truck Stop I've been using for years. Truck Stop owns RMIS, so I have accounts with Truck Stop, and I also have an account with RMIS. So I pay Truck Stop a lot of money every month, for services. DAT as well. Sonar costs me $3,000 a quarter. Okay, that's what I pay for Sonar. I am a broker and I am a carrier. I have all of these services and I know how all of them work. And I know that the information is garbage, it's bullshit, and it's skewed to benefit the broker. If you're a carrier or an owner operator and you're doing loads off of a load board, you have to understand that all of the information that they're using to come up with their rates it's lies, it's garbage, it's BS, it doesn't make sense. And we get numbers all the time that tell us that it doesn't make sense. Last week we received a report that said that the cost to operate a truck from a carrier's perspective in this country for the last 2 years has been going up. And this year, it's the highest it's ever been in history at $2.25 a mile. My cost to run my trucks is actually $2.67 a mile. Okay? That makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So that's where we are right now. And as far as technology is concerned, technology just means that you can get this garbage information from a tablet, a cell phone, or a computer. It's no different than someone telling you the same garbage information and lies over the phone, except you can get it from a different device now. So that I'll just leave that conversation right there. And everything Ranger said about the Motor Carrier Act of 1980 is spot on. It is spot on. The act is nothing more than a way of having slave labor available on demand. Just a revolving door of slave labor. People that are company drivers in a lot of cases, looking for a piece of the American dream to get away from working for someone and start their own company and go out on their own. And all they need is $300 a truck and an insurance policy, and that's it. And they're out there calling TQL, JB Hunt, CH Robinson, getting tricked into doing these loads that result in loss after loss after loss. And you know what? I get the phone calls, I get the emails, I get the text messages. Can you help me? Can Noah help me? Is there something you can do to help me? Can I look at your load board? Can you help me? No, I can't. I can't help you. You need to learn how to help yourself, because this is where your government placed you. This is the situation you're in. If the FMCSA and the government wants to put truckers on the road with no experience, no business background, no understanding on what it takes to run a truck, then the FMCSA and the federal government needs to train them. Yes, that is an opportunity for another shark to come and try to make money. And they're out there. They're charging $9,000 for their training, quote unquote, programs. I'll leave it right there.
Well, quickly to your point, Mike, the whole basis behind NOAA, you're starting to develop that data stream to where it's not, skewed numbers, right? I mean, this is direct shipping, direct brokerage. So you should be getting and developing that data stream that is, tangible, right?
We obviously, yes, we have a lot of data. As far as we're dealing with the same impacts of the market as everyone else. We have to go out and negotiate rates with shippers right alongside the same animals that are putting out these garbage rates. And if our rate is too high, the shipper is going to go in many cases with the rate that is lower. So we have to, walk away from the table on a lot of deals. Our load board is filled with loads that make sense, and we're only going to put loads on the board that make sense. And right now, the market is not making sense. So it's taking us a little bit longer to find quality loads and quality brokers and shippers to work with, but we know they're out there. We speak to them every day. We stay away from the large people. We try to focus on quality people. You had a couple of them in the space a few times with us. These are the people that we want to work with, okay? We want to have long-term relationships with quality shippers and quality brokers that care about the industry that they live off and want it to survive. We don't want to go down that road that 10-point Jake brought up. We don't want it to go down that road. We don't want people to have to wonder, is there going to be toilet paper when I go to the store tomorrow? We don't want that. That's the last thing we want. But if things don't change, look, it is what it is. It's the law of the jungle. I can't do this for free. And the other 3.5 million people out there that you brought up in those numbers can't do it for free either. So, it is what it is. Something's got to give. And we hope that Congress is listening when we talk to them. And we hope that they do the right thing and stop wasting time and playing games. And I'll leave it right there.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah. Okay. So back to the point, people want to know how real it is. So this is an email to me. Load offer, Salt Lake City, Utah to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. $2,950. And my response back was $1.39 per mile. Take me off of your mailing list. I do not wish to do business with you anymore. Thank you. That was a customer I actually worked with, and I won't work with them anymore. So when people want to know how real it really is, we're tired of it. We're actually telling the brokers, don't contact me anymore.
Well, I just want to acknowledge downstairs, RJ is a big supporter of NOAA and trucking. So just wanted to give a shout out to RJ down there. And yeah, keep the conversation going.
RJ's my neighbor. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
RJ, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Cool.
a good dude. He comes over and helps me out anytime I need him. Same way for him. He's an old school truck driver. He was out here 20 years ago, rolling up and down the highway. He was out in the oil field. He's a good dude. He's knowledgeable about what we got going, and he's a moderator on our Facebook group. He keeps the ruffians out of there for us. I like old RJ. He's a good dude. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, him and I are following each other, I think, and I like to give a shout out. There's Samson down there and Ultra Maga and everybody else down there. Just wanted to say hi. Sometimes I take a break and just take a look down. Sometimes I can't look down, but tonight I am, just to say hi. But Marlon, Iceman, you guys got anything more you want to add, or we can keep rolling here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the data stream, Mike, is something that's going to be the game changer. The more you strengthen that, the stronger you're going to be. So you're on the right track, brother.
Well,
I appreciate that. I mean, we try to collect as much data as we can. Our thing is trying to get as much information out to the members of the association as we can on what we're doing in Washington and what we're doing in general. You know, all the things that we're working on. We're doing a lot. You know, we're a very large organization. We've got a lot of different divisions, and we've got a lot of good people working on a lot of things. You know, you know, Bill brought up an excellent point. I see Genesis has her hand up. I'm going to get this out really quick. You know, Bill, he's not in right now. He's dealing with a family issue, but I had a issue with a member a couple of weeks ago, and the member went to Bill. You know, me and this member, we couldn't see eye to eye, and the member actually went to Bill, and Bill told him outright. He says, listen, you know, these guys just got started like a month ago, and you want change to come in a month. You know, you've been dealing with this for 50 years. You know, these guys are 50 years behind the 8 ball. You know, they're just getting started. It's going to take longer than a month. So, you know, that's a point I just want to bring up. You know, we're a very large organization, and we put this together very quickly, and we've got quality people involved with the association from, you know, from all of the divisions, from the carrier to the broker to the association, even all the way down into Washington with our lobbyists. And we just want everyone to be patient and to stay vigilant, stay focused, and just hang in there. This weekend was a very good example of what we can do when we stick together and we all have one message, and that's justice for truckers. And I'll park it right there. I see Genesis has her hand up again.
Yeah, this is good. The vision that you all have, to me, is an American vision, because if you think about the infrastructure of America, the America runs on trucking. They don't run on what Dunkin' Donuts is the tagline. American runs on Dunkin'. It runs on what you all are doing. And it's heartbreaking to hear. I think it was Michael that said how his truck was down that long. That's heartbreaking. And I know, like, the supply chain right now, you know, if truckers stop running, you know, we saw that. You cannot do anything in America. So the other two questions I have, just taking place from some of these enterprises, how they think and how they kind of where they are in their thinking. So one of the things that I know they do is they have the data scientists and the data engineers. And so my question is, you know, do you have any data scientists or data engineers that can start, you know, mining that data and bringing more analytics and intelligence? If not, I can have a conversation on that. The second thing is from the data. The second question I have is, I heard you mention some other carriers like JB Hunt and all of these. Do you all have with NOAA a vision to have an operation where you do have maybe a small outfit of talent that is data engineers, the branding? Somebody mentioned the market brand. Do you have a vision for setting up a structure so that way, you know, it's easy to compete? It's easy to compete with these others, because if the truckers stop, America stops. So the second piece on the structure part, I'm curious about. I know this is not a Trump call, but I'm curious if this group has had conversations with Trump's enterprise, not just say him personally, but far as a business perspective, because one of the things Trump did in his first campaign is he actually went and got data scientists and data engineers to understand where the people were and the votes and all that. So he's very familiar with analytics. But when we talk about government, politics, and policies, what has been that conversation with the Trump enterprise or so?
Yeah. We have not had any contact with Trump or his organization or anything like that. We are independent, and I'll just leave that there. I understand where you're coming from with data and data mining and, you know, all of that. Once again, I agree with you. 150%. We need people to be patient. It is definitely something we are looking into. We have been open for about 3 weeks now, and it's definitely part of our plan. I want to also bring something up here, which I think is important. You talk about mega carriers and mega shippers and stuff like that. UPS is currently having an issue with the Teamsters. And one of the things UPS likes to do is whenever they have problems with labor, they like to run to the owner operators. They like to run to the open market, which is us, the owner operators. This time, right now they're in negotiation with the Teamsters, and the Teamsters have announced that on August 1st, they will be striking. The truckers will be striking at UPS if they don't reach an agreement. We sent a letter out to UPS last week, and we let them know that if they do strike, don't come to us. We will not be carrying those loads for you. We sent them a letter last week. I believe I sent it to them on Monday, informing them that we are going to boycott them starting that Monday. So we've been boycotting UPS and supporting the truckers at UPS and their upcoming strike. We wanted to let UPS know that there will be no scabs coming from NOAA that will be covering those loads from UPS. They tried to pull that before with the railroads a little while ago, and they came to us with that. And we let them know that's not going to happen. So don't come to us. That's how serious we are. We're supporting owner-operators, and we're supporting independent truckers, and we're supporting the drivers at UPS. Thank you.
I wanted to touch on something real quick. I mean, I can say from experience working on bidding Amazon projects, I can tell you they worked out every single angle to squeeze every single dollar from the ground up all the way to the part where you get the package at your door. They're squeezing every single cent and dollar in the way that they set up those projects. But aside from that, the data analytics show that the National Owner Operators Association, those words, doesn't matter what combination, you could put you could put Operators Association, you could put Owner Operators Association, you could put National Owners Operators Association. All of those combinations work really well analytically. I'm seeing a lot of traffic for that. And especially using the word National Owner Operators Association in a complete sentence. So as far as data, I've been seeing a lot of data and a lot of movement. I know Mike Boston, the president of NOAA, his data analytics show that they're getting a lot of traffic. So we're obviously making an imprint. And then even farther, we're cross social platforms, and we're taking this conversation we're having right now, and we'll put it on YouTube, and that will increase even more traffic to the National Owners Operators Association. And further, we do talk to political people that are working in politics, and we are making that connection with people like Nate Kane and other politicians. So, and that we had a great conversation with Nate Kane. Michael asked some very important questions. Nate, he, like everybody else, I'm not a trucker. Maybe Genesis, you're not a trucker. And we might not know all the lingo, like you said, and we might not know all the aspects that Mike and everybody is facing, and the common man in trucking is facing, but we sure are learning about it. And we've been doing this space every Sunday at this time to have an official owner-operators meeting and get to these topics, and then put these conversations out there for the general public in America to hear. Sorry about my dog. Michael, I got a wild one over here too, Mike. I'm going to land it there. Go Texas.
Yeah. wanted to reply to Genesis again. The problem is there is no data stream to be mined because they're refusing to give us that data. That's what we're fighting. That's the reason why we're fighting to have the broker transparency law mandatory. Okay, on every load. There's no data there to be mined because they make us sign a waiver saying that we will not request that data. So they're the only ones mining the data, and they're using to control rates and manipulate markets, and that's a fact. So that's our major campaign right now. I say campaign as in warfare campaign, is to get this enforced so we can get the data we need to be able to make logical decisions. Some of us do not have the ability to do that because we have not been in trucking long enough to know how it works. And we're trying to educate them people to help us all. But the data is not there because they refuse to give it to us, even though law says that it must be made available to all parties in the transaction. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to get the data. Without that data, we're in serious trouble.
Yeah, but wait a minute, Texas,
Yeah.
you're developing that data stream though. You're developing that data stream with the with the brokers, the shippers, and that's the data stream that you're establishing. Wait till that thing, the tentacles really go out from there.
Well, maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe we need to get together and build some kind of platform where carriers, us as carriers, can come in and actually put together the money that we're getting out of these lanes instead of the lies that they're putting out there. Put it together and put it out to all the carriers. This is actually the average on that lane, not what you're seeing on Dat and Truck Stop. But I
That's
wanted to
something
push
I can
back.
help you. That's something.
I wanted to push
thinking.
back on. Yes, ma'am. I wanted to push back a little bit on a comment you had made, and I know you're not. This is not being negative towards you. I know you're not aware, but we was frontline workers during the pandemic. The trucks never shut down. What you seen was people going out and panicking and buying. We run through it all. As a matter of fact, we run hard through it all because they come in and waive the hours of service regulations that we normally fall under. They exempted a lot of that freight from them hours of service regulations, so we could run wide open. The only requirement was we take a 10-hour break. So they needed us at that point. We was frontline workers. We never got any recognition from it, very little. We didn't get paychecks for being out working through the COVID and being away from our families and worried about our families getting sick and dying, or us getting sick and dying on the road by the propaganda they spewed forth. But we, the truckers, we was there. We was there just like the doctors, just like the nurses, just like the police force. We was there working every day. Okay, so don't and a lot of people don't understand that and realize it. We was frontline workers. So as soon as they got over the COVID scare, the pandemic, the scamdemic, whatever you want to call it, it went back to normal, and now we're back under hours of service regulations where, we're regulated when we can and can't drive. So it's all just it's a setup for failure. When Mike said the perfect storm, I agree totally, and I've been telling people for the last 2 days that this is exactly what happened. It set up the perfect storm. It's the Motor Carrier Act of 1980. Everything that's led up to the moment, and then when COVID led up, they stimulated the economy with all this money because everybody went home except for the truckers, the police officers, nurses, doctors. And money was flowing freely, so everybody needed products. Everybody was panic buying, so everybody needed trucks. But when we come out of it, when the bubble burst, and now we're having to pay back that money, it fell on the truckers again. And that's what we're facing right now. But the data stream is non-existent for us. We need to build a data stream, and that's something I don't know how to do it. I'm not a computer engineer. I'm a truck driver. But it's something that I feel that we could do is come together and get at least all of our carriers a platform where we can come in and put what we're actually moving these loads for, not what they're saying on Dat and Truck Stop, and maybe network out that way and share it with everybody so we prove their lie. I'll park it there, brother.
I'm kind of interested to hear Ranger, what he's got to say there, with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to jump real quick. Like, it could be just the same as like say, like, when you look, I know this is going to sound crazy, but listen, hear me out. When you look up for a car value on Blue Book or something like that, it has a range: good, fair, poor. You know, you could actually set up this data to show a range based off of all the data of, like, hey, this is taking you into the red. This is a green light, go. This is looking more like the average. You could lay out that average with the data. You could take all the data and lay out the average, so somebody can make that educated decision and go, this is where I need to be. This is where I don't want to go. Maybe, I don't know. This is a data dream right now I'm in, and I'm seeing it kind of something that's more of a tool that somebody could use as an app, and they could really use that in that way. So anyways, I'm going to pass it off to Ranger Danger. What's up down there, Ranger?
Hey, thanks. Appreciate that. So Texas, in response to him, I've actually been working on a carrier-based platform for about the last year and a half. If that's a conversation you want to have, I'm open to having that talk with y'all about how that can maybe integrate with what y'all are doing. That's up to you. If you want to take that offline, that'll be fine. However you want to handle that.
Well, you'll need to talk to Mike, brother. I'm just throwing suggestions out there. I'm just a truck driver, bro. I'm an operations guy.
Genesis, this is Jake. I'd like to ask you a few questions about this data that you're asking questions about. Obviously, you're in the data information sector where you collect it. Is that true?
I worked for IBM for 25 years, so help them really get into the digital transformation, data engineering, you name it, when it comes to technology. So one of the things I know is every company uses data as their infrastructure. So just like how Mike was talking about, he was talking about the user experience around, we need to be able to make a decision. So data, the way data works is you collect the data sets and then you bring insight, so that way the user, which is the truck driver, can make actions. That's why I'm asking.
Okay, hang on one second. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And the reason I brought it up is I know it's not expensive now to develop the apps and the data platforms. It's very low cost. You don't have to know data at all, but you do have what you do have, like Texas, what you have is, how the trucking industry works, and you know what a trucker needs in order to make the right decisions. And then you partner, say we had 3 data engineers, or Ranger has a platform. We make sure that platform is intelligent. And nowadays, with that policy you're talking about, with the transparency, most companies have moved to what they call open source, which is transparency in data. So, we can get apps developed in India right now for low cost. And they're very skilled. And that's why you see all this stuff popping up everywhere, app for this and app for that, because it's not expensive, but you all want to get the right app that works for you. And if the data, Marlon, you were talking about, sort of like you have the data, because when you accept a truckload, for example, at a certain rate, that's data. Even though they're not giving you the actual stream, the more truckers collect that, and let's say you had 200 truckers say, well, I accepted this rate, you got a data set. You got a data set, you got the date, you got how many truckers did it, you got how many miles, you have a data set. It's just putting it in the right platform like Ranger is talking about, to start really making intelligent decisions. So you can reverse engineer those agreements, even though they don't share it with you, by what you accept. You can actually create your own data set.
Well, see, that's Genesis. That's the best part about it, is because you're starting out with a basis. Mike already brought the basis in. So it's basically just providing an admin for each individual broker shipper. And, that's how the algorithm will work in the API to be able to collect that data. He's already got it there. Well, the startings, if you catch my drift.
Okay, Genesis, I followed you on. I'm going to get a hold of you because we were just talking about how we needed to start collecting some data. So, because on many aspects, that's going to help us. It'll give us an idea of which direction we need to be going with things, and it'll also we'll be able to capture some proof of as far as what's going wrong out here in the industry, so that when we do bring it to, I guess you could say, the right people, we got some proof. So I followed you on here. I'm going to get off of here because me and Jamie are getting ready to head over to the truck stop, and I don't want to mess with this when I'm driving here in Houston. So it was good talking to you. I'm glad everybody's here. We had a good time at the truck show. Join us at www.tnooa.com. We're changing the industry. We have some data that we need to start collecting. So obviously that'll be coming up. We'll be talking more about that once we get that figured out. But that's it. I'm going to leave it right there. Everybody have a good night, and I'm jumping off here.
Right on. We got Jeannie in a bottle just jumped up, so we're going to give her a mic, and it's good to hear from you, Jake. So have a good evening.
Thank you, sir. I'll probably put it on my Bluetooth so I can hear it and just ride down the road and listen.
Hey, I know Michael's had his hand up for a long time here. Or I'm sorry, ADD.
Hey,
I'm
Jake,
actually going to change it to crazy.
give me a second, Michael. Hey, Jake, just let me know when you're ready, bro. Get it on your Bluetooth and just let me know when you're ready. I'm sorry. I didn't want to break up our conversation on the phone call there, y'all.
No, you're good. Yeah, you got important things to do. And hey, Jake, keep the shiny side up, rubbery side down, bro. Anyway, what happened? My thing closed.
Hold on a
Am I
second,
still-
Michael.
right.
Sammy, hold on, Michael. Sammy, I would call you, but I see you're listening. That broker just sent me an email, wants to know if we could still take that load. Contact that broker and tell her the truck is still available. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No, VP, you got the floor if you want it. I mean, in my opinion, you got the floor before the House speakers, but for our meeting. But we gotta follow the rules. Other than you're the president and the man that started all this. But I wanted to touch base on that with Genesis. That was my comment and has been for a long time. If she's still here, yeah, she is. Okay, so I understand since March 6th we started this, and we started out just boycotting one broker, and we could have went to all the things that truckers usually do, but we had a little bit of guidance, and Mike had a little bit more of a brain than most truckers do, and we decided pissing off the public wasn't a good thing. And again, I stay in the shadows. Mike knows what I do, but I'm just going to point this out. We've actually only been active on our webpage for about 3 weeks now, and we're getting more and more support. I'm sure we got a lot of support at the truck show, but everything that's been done so far has come out of Boston's pocket, and that's WM On Time Trucking that's sitting there. That's Mike Boston. That is our leader, chief, the man with the plan, and Jake that you've been talking to, that's the VP, and Texas, he's in charge of our carrier division, and I just like to sit in the shadows and make things happen. So as far as all of it goes, just understand money is an issue because it's all coming out of an individual's pocket right now. We're not set up, and most people are like, well, why does it cost for a membership? Well, because it's not free, and Mike doesn't have bottomless pocket. So when you say it's cheap, how cheap is it? Because free is good for us right now. Other than that, we're still grassroots. I mean, you need to understand that. They spent a lot of money that was for the donation, for the membership, to get our name out there. We're only 3 weeks old as far as it goes. Other than that, we're a Facebook group, and just we just need some time. I mean, you can already see what we're doing, and there's more of a program in the background that's going on, and there's a lot of things that are going on, behind the scenes, and we're just trying to bring it to the public a little bit to let them know that they can get out and they can start making the people that have the pen and paper, man, the pen is the most powerful weapon in the military. It's also the most powerful weapon in the world because the man with the pen makes all the rules. And unless you're willing to stand up and, say no more, and you've got a following like nobody's business, and I'm not even going to get into that one, but unless that is there, you have no control. The man with the pen has all the control. So understand, we're trying to bring this to the public right now, and we're not, the technicality of everything, getting into the whole spiel of why and what and how and why we did things. It's hard to do because you don't understand the industry. All we're trying to get across is that the bottom line is people better start realizing that there's trouble brewing on the horizon. I don't want people to feel sorry for me and stuff of that nature because there's hundreds of thousands of people that are going through the same thing. But, my bank account's empty. I barely was able to afford tires. And that's one of the things we brought to the table. Somebody, came and said, hey, I can get tires for 40% off. Well, that's something we can, offer our members. It's something that we can get people involved in. But even further than that, we're not just an association that's in Congress. We're not just an association that has insurance. We're not just an association that is just. I mean, if you got a department and you want in, Mike Boston's right there. Talk to him. Jake's right there. Talk to him. I don't have those powers. I can guide you in that direction, and my job is kind of to do that. But you need to realize that we have not been in business very long, and we have made more of an impact than certain organizations with, I'm not even going to get into it because I kind of got the drift that we're just leaving that alone. There are certain associations out there that have done zero for us, and we're not going to get into it. We're not going to go into it, but we've accomplished more in the 4 months that we've been in existence, really. And Mike's been working on this in the background a lot longer. I can tell you that right now. The things that he had that he could throw into play and stuff, they've had this idea, and they've had it in they're just waiting for the time to make it go. Because as I told Mike, and the reason that I follow Mike and I follow him off of a cliff is I could never get the following. Could I get the following back then when Stop the Tires or whatever else was going on? If I got those followings, would things have changed? Yeah, but it would have been by force, not the way Mike's doing it. Mike's doing it politically, to a degree that it's not going to hurt the people. The way that I would have done it, I'll tell you right now, I could care less. People will learn real quick under me. I follow Mike because I've seen that he had a program that would not hurt the people and that we could still take back what was ours and stop playing these games and making the revolving door where somebody comes in, goes out of business. Somebody comes in, goes out of business. Understand, most of those people going out of business, they lost their house too. Because in order to get into a truck, you need 30% down. What's 30% of 200,000? Who has that just laying around? I'm just asking, It's not something you can just jump right into, But standard truck today is $220,000. Trailer is in excess of, I've said this before, $80,000 for a cheap one, 5.5, 500, shit, 500,000 to 500,500. And again, I've told people I don't, especially when I get irritated and aggravated, but I don't convey my words very well. But the simplicity is you need to understand, we haven't been in business very long. So yeah, do we need analytics? Yes. Does Mike have that deep of pockets? Probably no. So, we appreciate it. And if you want to, help us out, Mike Boston's right there. He's the president. He is our leader. You know, Jake is right there. He's our vice president. You know, it just get a hold of them. But when you're saying, you know, it don't cost much, again, Mike Boston put up for the load board. Mike Boston put up for the webpage. Mike Boston sits up at night wondering, you know, what he's going to have to put up for next. And somebody wakes him up at 3 o'clock after he goes to bed at 1. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into this. And right now, this portion of it is just bringing it to the public's attention so that we don't have to take it to the next level. And we don't want to. We just want fairness to come into the ball game. That's it.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, my dog's barking again. There's a lot of similarities and a lot of things you said with different organizations across the board. Don't think for a second I don't get calls in the middle of the night just because we're running a different type of organization. But back to what you were saying, look, when it comes to all the different things you laid out, the benefits of being a member of NOAA, I think that the membership fee is arbitrary when you consider that a lot of people will join a Substack or just almost they'll give money to these types of things, and it's not to an organization. It's just to be part of a Substack. I mean, the average cost of a Substack could run anybody to be a part of it $1.50 a day. And you average that over 365 days, it's a pretty substantial amount of money to pay just to be part of a Substack. So this is actually an organization where people are getting a benefit, paying their dues to get all of the things you just talked about. So the scope of things, what you get out of it versus what you put in, I mean, it's insurmountable. The math is obviously in the favor of somebody joining. You get a lot of benefit out of it for what you put in. So I don't see that the membership fee or that being an issue. I don't even know if it's, I mean, I don't know what it is. What is it? Is it monthly or yearly, guys?
Every 3 weeks or 3 months, it's $125, but that's to be a member. I mean, you can join and you can be, you can, you know, support us for nothing. But again, like I said, a load board nowadays costs $200. I already told Mike, and I'm going to say this right now. I think he brought it in pretty cheap because a load board nowadays costs $200 a month. And that's if you want a live load board. If you want one, you know, it's been 3 minutes since looked at it. Well, that's $75 to $100. You know, but when you're talking, you're having to afford. I mean, I know Mike's got probably $1,000 just in load boards. So, you know, for me, I had $300 a month in load boards. You know, so if we're providing a load board that's paying 3 times more, and I say I need to quit doing that. People catch on pretty quick, but. When NOAA provides a load board, you know, I feel it should be a minimum $150 a month. And Mike doesn't. Mike's like, no. We're trying to get membership. And I'm like, well, if they don't have to use the load board and they don't have to pay that $300-400 a month for all the other load boards, why is it that we're not bringing a little bit more to our load board, being we're giving more out on our load board? And, you know, again, Mike's the one that puts me back in line and tells me to shut up. So anytime that he's ready to kick in the microphone and tell me to shut up, feel free, bro, because, you know, I told you I follow you off a cliff, but I'm pretty opinionated and I don't know when to shut up. So
that's all right. Well, I'll jump in. What I wanted to say is for what the member is paying to be part of it, they're getting a lot more than they're getting when you said, like you said, adding it all up. They're getting everything through NOAA, the insurance, all of the other things, the tires, the support. Jeannie in a bottle, she's got her hand up and she gives lots of support. Let's turn our attention to Jeannie real quick. Jeannie, please.
I don't know if y'all can hear me. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you pretty all right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm in the Houston airport. I'm just getting ready to fly out of Houston. I was at the truck show. I may or may not have spoken to just a couple of people this weekend. Get on my flight here in like 20 minutes. I'm going to wave my hand, let everybody know I'm here. And what a great time we had at the truck show. a little bit hoarse. You know, like I said, may have talked to a couple people. Had a lot of support there. We had some pictures with some current members. I think we got a few new members signed up. It's just a great time.
You know, Jeannie, we've got a little bit of background noise there, hon. I don't want to cut you off because I know you have something important to say. I just can't understand everything you're saying. So, all right, well, let's.
Is it better if I get closer? Is it better like this?
Yeah. You got to get real close to your mic to
Okay,
talk.
so yeah, I was just at the airport to get ready for about 20 minutes. I was at the show this weekend and just wanted to finish take pictures with some current members and so signed with a few new members and it's just a great time.
Yeah, Jeannie, it's still kind of intermittent, but I don't know if it's because you're in a building, maybe cellular data is poor in there or whatever, but we'll circle back. And Mike, you're up. Please, Mr. Boston.
Yeah, Jeannie's on her way to the airport, I think. She's leaving from the truck show. I guess she's in the airport. Yeah, Mike, I didn't cut in because I didn't think you were saying anything, wrong or anything like that. You could say whatever you want. I wish you stopped telling people I keep telling you to shut up because I never tell you to shut up. I respect your opinion. And, I just felt that the price was fair. And I didn't want to make the cost to become a member so high that it wouldn't be affordable for anyone. We're all going through a really hard time right now. So I wanted to, make it reasonable for everyone that wanted to join the association to be able to join the association. But I also knew that what we needed to do to get the change that we wanted to get was going to take money. So I had to really, really figure it out. We had to sit down, we had to go over it with many people, we had to talk about it and find out what would be a good price to charge and how we would charge it. So the way that we did it seemed like the most affordable way, and that doesn't mean it won't change later on, but right now it looks good, we're doing well, and I think it was the smart move. It's not about anyone telling anyone to shut up, it's about all of us meeting together, taking all of the input together. It's kind of like Genesis said, it's like data mining, right? There's 15 of us, 20 of us, we all get together and we talk about these things behind the scenes and we figure out what would be the best way to go. So I know what you were thinking, and to be honest with you, I agree with you. I think it should be higher. But the thing is that we have to think about others, right? You know what I mean? And we have to think about the times that we're in right now and what we're dealing with right now with high fuel prices, high labor rates, high parts costs, high, everything, and low rates, right? So that was the reason why we came up with what we came up with. And as far as the data is concerned, Ranger and Genesis, get in touch with Jake. That's his thing. He will work with you and get all of your information, and you guys can, exchange ideas. Jake will bring that to me when everything is, you guys got everything hashed out, and I'll bring it to, our developers or whoever else we need to bring it to. And, this is how we do things, Genesis and Ranger. We want to work with everybody. We want to work with you. If you have a good idea, if you want to help, I don't remember her name. I think she's gone, but, like her with the, signing up people to vote, we want to work with everybody. If you've got a good idea, get in touch with us. We want to work with you. Yeah, and I'll just leave it right there. Thank you.
And I will, thank you, and I will. That's the thing. I want, one of the things for me is being, having something meaningful to impact. And sometimes the industries that we all come from, we're all different, but some of the ideas can be applied. And if it's anything I can do from my experience and expertise, I definitely want to add value, because that's what I'm hearing, like on even the rates, it's value and fairness. And I really love those values that you all are talking about. So I'll get with him. And I think the question was, when I said it's cheap, what I meant by that is, a long time ago, when you had to hire a data engineer or a software developer, what they used to call it, a coder, you might, and if you hired someone in the US, you might would pay for a computer engineer maybe 125,000. Nowadays, the coders, the way they code is completely different, and the data engineers are different, and the market has changed. You can get, gig workers. You can pay by the project, which sometimes the project is $150. Sometimes it's $1,000. You can pay by a full-time employee if you outsource, which that's what these companies are doing to get their data engineering game up. They're outsourcing to India, which that's another. We're not going to talk about the outsourcing, but I'm just giving you the numbers. A person in India that is a master coder you can get them for like $5,000, $7,000 a year. A year. So if you don't need them for full time for a year, you can do them by what we call gig. So that's some of the intelligence and insights that we can bring to some of your challenges you have, and how to solve them with different type. You basically, you're beating these companies at their own game, because what they're holding is, they're holding the insight. How do they bring up these chat GPTs, these open platforms so quickly? It's because they're paying like small rates compared to what they were paying yesterday. Versus if you get someone from like a normal college here, you might have to pay them 75,000, but it's there, and they may not be the best coder. So you want to get the best coders for what you need at the lowest cost to help you solve your problem, and you probably can get it up and running in a month or 3. But anyway, that's just the answer the question about what I meant by cheap. It was a like a relative point of what it used to be versus what it is now. And most people don't know, you basically can get apps, up and running with the low cost than what it was yesterday. And I'm gonna land it there. So thank you.
Yeah, even the host has his hand up.
I'm wondering why he's not talking.
I think he just fell asleep. Somebody wake him up. Ranger, go ahead, brother.
So I used to be a software architect, and I have dealt with offshore developers. And from personal experience dealing with these other people, I can tell you I'd rather have somebody in college write code for me than someone from India. The level of expertise that the people from India bring is so subpar that it's not even worth the money that you're paying for. I mean, she is right. It is cheap, but you get what you pay for. And I would never, I've done it before, and I would never do it again.
Yeah, and that's I will say this. He's exactly right. There are all types of outsourcing models. And what happens is, depending on your network and who depending on, that's who you get. So it's just like a market, right? It's just like the trucking industry. There are people that undermine the market. They'll say, I'll do it for this rate. When you do it for that rate, you're usually going to get the cheap, the terrible coders, people who don't have English. But my point, who don't speak English well, which is a criteria. But the point I'm making is, there are models that I think could be helpful to your problem. And it may not be an India model. It may be a gig model. But there are models that are very affordable, as long as you know where to go. And some of the things that, like Ranger, like you said, I was a computer engineer, software engineer. I'm no longer one anymore, because my thing was, I wanted to help shape the industry, not just be one myself, but how do you shape the industry and that type of thing. So I think I'll talk to Ranger JC, I'll talk to you. We can come up with some ideas that might be helpful, affordable, and add value with good quality, right? Because it does need to be very cost conservative. It needs to be, something that can help, not hurt.
Hey, sorry about that, y'all. I know I had my hand up. Yeah, Genesis, you see the hurdles.
All right, I'm
So
boarding the flight. I'll see y'all next Tuesday.
see you, Jen. Thanks for coming in. And I think, Chris, you had your hand up, didn't you? Did you want to say something, Chris, before we go to Michael or ADD?
I just wanted to yell at Jen if she could hear me. Have a safe trip. God bless. Stay safe wherever you're traveling there.
Okay, Michael.
ADD's question, your statement was for Genesis. I don't know if she's still in here or not, but anyway, basically, I worked for a company, and the Indian market, they're not stupid. They don't fix things to the point that they have to fix them again so that they can keep that yearly salary. And I'm just going to leave it right there. We need people that are going to make it work and only need to fix it when it needs fixed.
Yeah, there's definitely some scams with that. Yep, development end, IT departments. Yep, all about them. So where do we stand here? You want to kind of have some last thoughts here, Maggie? What do you think, Mike? You good? You want to have some last thoughts, and we'll put a bow on it, maybe?
Yeah, it's been a long weekend, and I know Jamie's done and Jake is done, and I'm finished. Jennifer's flying back home. We had a really busy, successful weekend. Tomorrow's another day, and it feels like we've been doing this for years, and I know that's weird because we've only been doing this since the beginning of March, but we got a lot of work to do still, and we got a lot of things that we're still rolling out and testing and working on, and tomorrow's another day. We thank everybody for their support. Everyone who sent me their information for hats and stickers and T-shirts, I got all the information. Everybody's going to get their stuff shipped out next week. I want to thank MAGA Mission for everything that they've done for us and everything that they continue to do. These guys are great. They've been supporters from the very beginning, and we support them. And, forget about trucking. These guys, MAGA Mission, check them out, magamission.org. They do a lot of good. They touch on a lot of different topics that are important concerning children and politics and, the environment. You got to stay informed. You got to stay aware, man. You got to keep your eyes open. And if it's not, if you don't have guys like them and platforms like this getting the word out there, you just walking around blind. So, I want to thank you guys for all of your support and everything you've done to get our information out there. And, we're going to be back here again on Tuesday and Thursday. Check us out at www.tnooa.com. And check us out on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're all over the place. And I want to thank everybody who came out to the truck show this weekend to meet us. Try to have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll just leave it at that. The floor is yours, guys. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, I want to, if you guys have a YouTube presence, I want to know about that. So I'll look at that. Is it basically, what's the name of it? Or do you have a link to it or something on YouTube?
I'm on the phone. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no
I'll
problem.
be right back. Sorry about that.
Well, we'll find it. Michael, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Marlon.
Jake might be able to answer to that, but I know Michael's got his hand. ADD.
I don't have it right in front of me. I tried to get on the YouTube for the Facebook page that we got, and I couldn't do it off my phone. I think it's linked to my email. My own YouTube is linked to my email. I posted some stuff from the truck show on the Facebook page this weekend. That's off of my personal YouTube, so I'm not out there pushing that though. I'll get the association's YouTube for you guys next time we talk. I got it. It's just I don't want to look it up right now. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. But I just wanted to subscribe the Magnum Mission YouTube channel to yours, and then feature your stuff there. Make sure people, if they stumble across us, they're going to stumble across you. We just keep making those connections, and that's the way it works. So just trying to get on board with know where the data is, so I can go find it and then help get it going and get it out there as much as I can. That's what I do. And Michael, did you already finish up? You got anything else, Michael? I wasn't sure if we moved on or you're good.
Yeah, I was just going to tell Jake if he's got it, wants to shoot it to me in a message. I'm usually playing around in these rooms with you guys during the day, and when I'm home bored or when I'm waiting for stupid. But that happens in the reefer division. But if you want to shoot me that information, I'll pass it on for you, Jake.
Okay, man. I will. I'll get it for you.
Yeah. So look, it's all about content, guys. So the more we actually say the words National Owner Operators Association, the web crawlers find that, and you will be found. The people looking for it will find you, and it'll link everything we're working on all into a data stream in Google search results. Or it doesn't matter which browser they're using, the web crawlers will find it. And so unifying the content, unifying the message, unifying the data, that's going to strengthen that imprint on the internet. And that's really why I was interested in your YouTube channel, because it's almost like what we're doing here. This recording is going to go on YouTube. I'm going to title it in such a manner that it brings more traffic towards your organization, and that's kind of how I'm trying to figure it out. That's why I asked. So that's great. We'll work on that, and it's one day at a time, man. One video at a time, one room at a time. It's really just one day at a time. Like Mike was saying, we personally just started our site on April 13th. So we're very, very new, and we've already made a lot of ground. We've seen a lot of already a huge digital imprint and movement. So, we're right there with you on this journey as far as almost an age on the internet and doing this. So,
yeah, like I said,
we're a little
I'm not.
younger.
Ouch. I'm not trying to push in or anything. I had a message for Mike, and him being from New York, he takes a lot of things serious. I'm not saying he's telling me to shut up by any means. It's more so that I get worked up so much that he basically has to tell me, okay, you beat that dead horse quite enough. And I mean, I have good points, but I also I try to use tact a little bit, because I'm not real good at it. And again, I'm not real good at conveying my speech, which is why I try to have other people help me to convey the message. But as far as Mike goes, no, he's never told me to shut up, not literally anyway. And I just,
Yeah. I don't think everybody's heard that, and I know that we know it's a figure of speech. It's all right, buddy. And yeah, I don't think we've ever heard him tell you to shut up either.
Can I pay you a compliment though, Michael? You're from when you started speaking on Spaces to now, it's a big difference, buddy. So yeah, I applaud you.
One day at a time, Mike. Michael.
I appreciate it. I'm changing my name to Crazy. My handle's always been Crazy Driver, and there's just too many Michaels. So, yeah, I'm going to change my handle just so everybody knows as soon as I can figure it out.
Mike, you remember when we started the Facebook group, brother? You remember how you remember when we started it? It was like just like 10 of us in there, bro. It's like 40,000 plus now in the two groups, man.
Oh, I know. Like I said, I personally think we were throttled down too by Facebook, because we get stuck a time or two, and without going into what I do, I know there's a whole lot more people that are, talking to me on the backside than what we're showing in our room. I'm just being honest with you. But
you know what bothers me, man? It's the people we lost. You know what I mean? That's what hurts me the most. You know what I mean? Like, you remember the girl, I forgot her name, her and her husband, they had the truck
Brandy.
and the 6 kids.
Yep.
And they had to sell the truck and they had to sell their house. You know what I mean? It's the people like that. The other girl in North Carolina, you know what I mean? She was running for who is it? JB Hunt, and they ripped her off for like 8 months and she lost her truck. She went home and they were evicting her from her house. They took her house. That's what bothers me. It's not where we are now. It's where we were and the people we lost. When you were talking earlier about the 20,000 trucker owner operators that went under the first quarter this year, a lot of those people were members of this group, and these are the people we lost, and that's what bothers me, man. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you call me or we're talking and you going in on me, just like, I don't even know if you even fucking breathe, and you're like beating my ear up, and I'm thinking in the back of my head about the people that we lost. You know what I mean?
I know.
I'm wondering where they are now and how they're eating and how they're feeding their kids and all the shit that they're going through right now. And sometimes it's just like too much. You know what I mean? And
Mike, language. Remember, we're being recorded.
Yeah, all right, whatever. Sometimes it's just too much, you know what I mean? And it's like it's overwhelming, you know what I mean? And that's really like what I think about. It's not like where we are now. It's like we're the people that we lost. Like, I don't see them anymore. Like, I know they're still members of the group. Every once in a while I see them and I reach out and I try to get them to, participate, but they just, they're hurt, you know what I mean? And that's what bothers me, man. And that's what I think about. And
how about this, Mike? How about this? How about now you work on the people that you have now that you can help and rescue, just like the fuel card. I'm sitting here thinking about it. If they just utilize the fuel card, it well pays for the membership. I don't get it. It's a no-brainer.
There's a lot of our services alone, just like what you said, the fuel card alone, insurance, our DOT compliance guy. You save money by going with these people because we brought them on and they're exclusive, and we make sure they give our members a good discount. So it doesn't hurt us when people question us and want to know what we're about. It gives us a chance to explain the benefits of actually becoming a member. We're out here as representatives for you in Washington already. We got us some lobbyists, and we're working on writing some policy. We're working on a lot of things. So it just gives us a good chance to explain what we're about to people. And I see a lot of people, not a lot, but a few people this weekend. Well, how are you different from OIDA? You got a few minutes? Let me sit here and tell you some stuff. And at the end of that conversation, 100% of the time,
people are, okay, I like what you're doing. I support you. Here, let me sign up for your newsletter, or here's my credit card. Let's sign up. So it's good that we're able to get our name out there and all that good stuff this weekend. I'm happy about that. Got a lot of good things that we're working on. A few things that we need to tweak. I want to say I appreciate Maga Mission for hosting us 3 times a week. I know our analytics are going off the chart because the clicks that we get through them, and every little bit helps. So you can join us at www.tnooa.com. Sign up for our free newsletter. Keep in touch. If you can't afford to do the quarterly right now, we understand it's hard out there. At least sign up for our newsletter. Keep in touch with us and see what we're doing for you. As advocates for drivers out here. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Thanks, Jake. Go ahead, Texas.
The truck show is over, but here's the truth of what we've done this weekend. We got it out there, but also we run out of literature today about 2 hours before it was over. All the flyers and everything that was printed up was gone. We put a lot of stuff out there. So, Mike, you can look for the phones to light up tomorrow, brother. I really believe that. I mean, we put it out there. Everybody was interested. Everybody was taking our information and saying they was going to call. So I think we planted the seed that we needed to plant. Now we just got to water it.
Well, it gets to a point to where the people start, it just gets momentum. You guys get started and it snowballs, and pretty soon it takes off and it goes word of mouth. And before you know it, the truckers will be talking to other truckers, and, even the person that you didn't actually contact directly, the people you talk to at that meeting and at that event, they're going to talk to their friends and other people. So it's going to spread that way organically as well, too. It's going to take off, and we're right here with you. We're rooting for you. I mean, we're really, really trying our hardest to help you. So, we're here and we're on board. Mike.
Yeah, I was on the phone. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting so many emails and text messages and phone calls already. I definitely do appreciate the support. We all do, on behalf of all the members and people that have signed up and are supporting the association. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And we're going to continue to, push the mission and our mandate, and we're going to keep fighting. We're pressing on. I made a commitment to not stop, and I'm not gonna stop. And that's basically it. We've got a great team that we put together, and we've got a strong organization with a strong foundation. And anyone out there that's listening, whether you're a broker, a shipper, a dispatcher, a carrier, an owner-operator, a company driver, or if you're not involved in trucking at all, we're interested in working with you, and we're interested in you being a part of the association. Everyone has something that they can contribute to this. Everyone can lend a helping hand. And I meant it before. Check out magamission.org. These guys do a lot of great work. They work with organizations all over the world. We've got members from Brazil that found us from MAGA Mission. We've got members from Canada, just all over the world, India, that are members of the association that support us, and they found us through MAGA Mission. Yeah, I appreciate the support, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. Go ahead, Michael.
Hey, Boston, I need you to call me when you get a chance. You got a second, number one. Number two, I just want to thank all the hosts for their time, because we thank them for the room, but we don't thank them for their time. It's personal. Everybody's got families, they've got loved ones, they've got, stuff to do. And they take their time out of their schedule to, bring us all together, and they don't have to. So we need to stop and thank the guys that, bring these rooms together and have been for a long time. So, I just wanted to say thank you, guys. Thank you for your time.
Well, thanks, Michael. Well, I can tell you right now that, hey, the word's going long beyond Twitter. Just like Mike said, there's people finding us on Google. They're actually listening to these spaces on Google. They don't even have to be on Twitter. I think that's the craziest part. It's really the digital imprint that's going to give us the voice. And, due to MAGA and his hard work and really put us in the right position to be able to do that. So, yeah, hats off. So.
Yeah, and the recording replays to these meetings that we've had are off the charts. I mean, I think one of them had over 250 replays. I mean, it doesn't just stop here. The work starts here. The work doesn't necessarily stop right here. There's so much more work, for at least on my end, to do after we do this, between the next time that we get together. But yeah, so the work's never ending, and there's lots to do. And if ever I'm bored, I can always look, and there's always something that I didn't do or I need to go back and finish. So I got plenty of work on my plate, and we've all been putting in that work, and the results are gonna bring us down the path to victory. And that's how the community works. We got people like Michael, Mike, and everybody on the team. I could go on and list so many people, Iceman, Marlon, everybody that contributes. It's the community that's going to bring us to victory. And that's the key, bringing out all the people together. That's when we're going to start having a voice in when it comes down, when we get down the politics road. We get the community together first. We'll have a voice. We start to make connections with politicians. They start to listen. They see the movement. They see the voices. They'll hear it. They'll see it. They'll feel it, and they'll act on it. They'll know what to do. Marlon.
So yeah, hey, just quick shout out for Gypsy Space. She starts at 6 a.m. East. She does a Liberty Lounge in the morning, and she usually runs it until about 9 o'clock. But my space starts at 9 a.m. on the East. And, check out what's going on. We always have spaces Tuesday nights, self-defense, Wednesdays, indoctrination in our schools. So there's a lot of information to be able to capture out there. So hopefully come and join us and, sign up for magamission.org. So MAGA, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, well, every Saturday we have a space at 10 where we talk about civil liberties, politics, and also the Constitution and legislative action, and a lot of different things on Saturday at 10 o'clock every weekend. You brought up defending self-defense. That's with 3-tier. Monday we're usually doing homeschooling 101 or something else. Wednesday is with Advocate. Yes, she's an advocate against indoctrination in schools. But specifically this Tuesday, I'm going to be posting a space for this Tuesday at, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Iceman, are we doing that for 4:30 or 5?
4:30 Pacific, 7:30 East Coast.
Right. Okay, so I'm going to be posting it right after this, so look for it. I'll pin it to my tweet. It's going to be coming, and we really would like people to show up for that. It's going to be a really interesting space. And I don't know, Iceman, did you want to lay down any premise for the people what's going to be happening on Tuesday at 4:30? Because I think it's a totally different subject to everybody, but it's something that people need to know about. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll give you the history. Anybody that knows firearms knows that Glock was the original, what they call ghost gun. You could take it through an airport, you could take it here, you could take it there. All the hype about how dangerous it was. Well, that was all BS, and we all know that. But let's bring it to modern times. We're actually going to do a case study on what is called a PMF, a personally manufactured firearm. To this day, depending on the state, I still think nationwide you can actually manufacture your own weapon. And although under federal guideline, it is recommended, yeah, let me put that one in air quotes, folks, recommended that you address a serial number to it. It's not a requirement. It's not a mandate by the ATF. So, yeah, we're going to actually be discussing a case that is happening. God, I'm going to screw this state up. I want to say, oh God, I want to say Minnesota, but I'm probably wrong.
It's all right. Well, the young man that was actually brought charges against, he had some firearms where he had no serial numbers, and he's facing criminal charges
Easy.
for that.
You're going to give it all away.
Yeah. No, that's what we're going to be talking about. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not going to hide
gave
anything.
No, I'm just saying
All right.
that's what it's all about.
All right. Spare
The
me.
ghost gun.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard about them.
Yeah, it's an actual case study with something going on right now. All right, Mike.
Yes, I have a question. I'm not very knowledgeable with firearms. So now the ghost gun, that is the gun that you can buy in the kit and they send it to you with a piece missing, right? And then you jig, you make the piece with the jig and you have an actual gun, right? So am I correct on that?
It's a little more complicated than that. What you do is buy what's called an 85% complete blower.
Okay.
It requires machining. It requires some drilling. And once you do whatever you're supposed to do with the use of a drill press or a mini grinding unit, basically a mini CNC machine, you have yourself the lower component, which is what the Fed actually regulates. Once it's completed, you can now buy an upper, you can buy a barrel of any type you want, you can buy whatever outer plastic. You know, we used to say the M16 was body by Mattel, brains by Colt. And basically create your own weapon. You can do this with pistols, you can do this with long rifles, just about anything. And it is legal under the Fed. That's one thing I got to stress. We're talking about it here. It is totally legal under the ATF regulations that are currently in place to both own and manufacture one of these. Hopefully that answers your question, William. I'm probably talking longer than the boss man wants me to, but yeah, there's the rundown on it.
And they want you to have a serial number on that. Is that what they're saying?
It's recommended that you do, and if you do sell or transfer the weapon, you should assign a serial number to it and keep that as part of the record of transfer. But it's not a federal mandate. Once you put the serial number on it, now you fall into the ATF and NCIC classification where now other people have that serial number. The government now has it. The trick of the ghost gun is it has no serial number. It has no rifling component. The government doesn't know squat about it. So that's what they say makes it so dangerous. To patriots, it means you don't know that I have this gun, so you can't come and take it.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. And when is that show?
That's going to be this Tuesday. Go ahead. I'll let you talk.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's 4:30 Pacific Standard Time, so East Coast. It'll show up on the invite. It'll show up as your time.
So I got a question here. I'm a trucker, right? And I find myself in dangerous situations all the time. What happens if I'm in my truck and I have one of these in my truck?
Well, a lot of this is laws by state, and so because you guys are going over state lines, if you have a firearm, you're going to be under each different state's, state law, and then there's also what we were studying. It was statutes of law. So there's the state law and the statutes of self-defense and also the use of firearms. that you would be under that jurisdiction.
Hey, I got some advice, Mike. Don't carry one of them in Jersey.
Not in New York either, brother. But yeah, that right there. We do not qualify for any of that type of
Nope.
leniency. Yeah, no, I got you.
Well, hey, Mike, I remember hearing something under the primary ICC regulations that firearms were not permitted in any vehicle maintaining an ICC number. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's something in the past.
Yeah, the firearms is way outside of my pay grade, brother. I have no idea. I live in New York, man. So, unfortunately, I don't know jack shit about any firearms here. I think you can count on one hand how many people have a license to carry a firearm in New York, within the boroughs anyway. I know that if you go into Long Island, the laws are different. They're very lenient out on the island. But in the boroughs, Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx, wherever the hell else, Staten Island, you cannot carry a firearm for any reason here. Thank you.
Oh, I know. I used to be a firearms instructor for my agency, and I've dealt with different programs in civilian life. But yeah, that was the one thing on the Fed thing. But what MAGA said was, and Marlon said, is also really important. Local state law. Most people are aware of the non-resident Utah carry permit. It was originally recognized in 34 states. Now there seems to be a pushback by a lot of states to take that right away, to not offer the reciprocity. I believe Jersey just did it. They are one of them. New York has always had a ban against any type of out-of-state carrying permit. Back when I first got into law enforcement, just going into New York City could have subjected me to the Sullivan Law before HR 218 came out. So yeah, the laws in New York are just cross the river, and they're both as bad, Mike. We're kissing cousins. The only people that have a bigger shit show is California. But welcome to the communist state of New Jersey, and I'll shut up now.
Nah, brother, you're totally right, and it's the state we live. It's where it's where I live. I mean, you got. Look, it is what it you got 12-year-old kids out here shooting babies. It's not it's a tough one. If you think the trucking industry is bad, that's a subject that's a tough one. You know what I mean? I mean, it's a tough issue. We have a problem with everybody knows New York. I mean, the last weekend, I think a person got shot in one day in every borough in the city. Every borough. Manhattan, Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, one person got shot in every borough last weekend. It was like a record or something like that. Look, it's a catch-22, man. I don't want to be one of those people. You know what I mean? So I don't know what to say.
Well, I could walk you through the steps in another time. Maybe we can do a space on just the tri-state area. There are ways to get a legal carrying permit in the 5 boroughs. They are extremely hard. There already is case law in Pennsylvania that Philadelphia and Pittsburgh County were both told either toe the line or they would lose state funds. They required an additional permit. You could be anywhere else in the state, one permit from one county carried across all of them, except for Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. They were taken to federal court at the district level, and they were told toe the line. And now wherever you get a permit in Pennsylvania, it's good throughout the whole state. They still have no reciprocity with Jersey or New York. Yeah, like I said, we could do a space on this. I don't want to take up your meeting, what's left of your meeting, boss. But I'd love to discuss this with you more. Seriously.
No, it's a very important topic, and what it has nothing to do with guns, really. It has to do with rights. It has to do with your right as a citizen of the United States of America. It has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with your right to protect yourself, and that is your right. And our meeting is over. Everyone's pretty much gone. It's just, I think, me and Mike here and Chris. Everybody's tired and getting ready for the week. But I think that's a very important show and a very important topic. And I'll definitely be there. And I think everyone else should too. This is just my opinion. Like I said, it has nothing to do with guns. It has to do with your right to be able to carry a firearm in this country. If you're legally able to carry a firearm, you should be able to carry a firearm. That it's your right to protect yourself and your family. Thank you.
Yeah, this topic is so deep. It's so complex of a topic. But I'm going to hand it to Ice. Sorry, Ice, I stepped on you there. Go ahead, boss.
No, that's okay. I was going to say, it comes down to two things. Knowing the law, situational awareness to protect yourself from the fact that you may have to defend your life or save the life of someone else. That, situational awareness is a major player in that. But also the fact that what you said, it has nothing to do with whether it's a gun, a knife, a claw hammer, whatever it is. It's your right that if you feel that you or a family member or you observe somebody that is now at a deficit due to being attacked, to me, it's your moral obligation to get up there and do something about it. But you have to understand and know how the law, what you have to do after the fact. And that's one of the things that Three Tiers, Steve, MAGA, all of us are involved in. And we've been doing that for, I don't know, Matt. When did you actually start that, MAGA? That has to be at least 3 months?
I think we've already done over 15 to somewhere between 15 and 20 shows already on it. But we started with the premise of understanding the legal system, understanding, the eminence of what's going on, situational awareness, equipment. We've even had truckers ask us, what can we carry? What can we use? Is it, and we didn't advise people on firearms, but equipment comes up in this discussion, and like I said, it's a very diverse topic, and it has so many different things to talk about there, and we talk about them all. From the legal aspect to the, threat assessment, to the equipment, to the legal system, case studies, state statutes, or local statutes on defense, everything. I mean, all of it. We do want to wrap it up, Mike, like you said, so we'll go to you, Mike, and then we'll go to Michael, and we'll put a bow on it, as Marlon likes to say.
Yeah, I know it's getting late. It's just it's a topic that's going to be addressed eventually as far as trucking is concerned. These guys, they are all over the place. You guys know trucking now. These guys are in New Jersey one day, the next day they're in Tennessee, the next day they're in, who the hell knows where. They're running, their clock runs, they run out of time, they got to find some place to park. Shut the truck down so they don't get a violation. They end up in some bad neighborhood or something like that. Middle of the night, they're sleeping. Some guy knocks on the door trying to rob them. I mean, seriously, come on. You know what I mean? Whose fault is this? They got to be able to protect themselves. I hear this all the time from my guys. You know what I mean? They call me up in the middle of the night with issues. It's a very good topic as far as trucking is concerned. I think Bill brought it up in one of our spaces a couple of days ago. It's another issue that truckers have to deal with, and a lot of it has to do with ELDs. You know what I mean? And the reason why they're a problem, and the shortage of safe parking spaces for these guys to park their trucks when they're running out of time. It's just another middle finger by the federal government, and it's another show. You know what I mean? Like, I appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Well, truckers were essential during COVID, and you're obviously you're the reason why the nation runs. So it's a national security issue, and then your safety then should fall into being, because you're transporting goods. And like you said, you have a rig that has goods on it. You don't necessarily have the right places to park all the time. There should be some kind of exemption or some kind of pathway for truckers, because they're hauling goods and because they are vulnerable. There should be an argument for them to be able to apply for something that allows them to have the right to protect themselves moving from state to state, regardless of, maybe a certain class, I don't know how to put it into the right words, but I think you understand what I'm saying. I think there needs to be something set aside for people that are transporting goods. It wouldn't be any different for a guy that's going to well, it's kind of different, but not really. He's going to go pick up some money from a bank. Those guys have guns, they put it in a secure vehicle. People try to rob them, they can defend themselves. You guys are carrying goods, that people might want to try and break into your truck or rob you. I mean, you're vulnerable. So you need protection. And I think truckers, it should be addressed. Protecting truckers should be addressed. So I agree. Michael.
Okay, I'll make this short and sweet. I have a concealed carry. I do have 45 reasons on board why you do not mess with this truck. As far as like red states, Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, they don't care. Colorado, they better not catch it. There's no law that says that you can't have it in the back of the trailer in a secure facility, and you can carry it, but it does you zero good sitting there. And I'm sorry, a lot of people say, your dog means more to you than somebody that's stealing your stereo or trying to break into your house. Yeah, they do. So, call me an outlaw, but I'll never give mine up. Period.
Chris.
Oh,
sorry. Go ahead, Ice.
Yeah, you and I got bad feedback when we're both open tonight. Yeah, my answer for somebody coming for my weapon is real simple. I'm going to give it to them 153 grain at a time.
I say one projectile at a time, but it's the same thing.
One speaker at a time here. Chris, what's up?
So just to speak on that, I do have a buddy of mine that has a concealed weapon to where he can go across 48 states. Okay. Now he has to abide by those state laws. So you do have to still abide by those state laws. But you can still conceal your weapon in your truck in 48 of the states, which is basically everywhere except Alaska and Hawaii.
Well, let's hope your route does not take you across the water to Hawaii. That would be bad for the truck. I don't think it would run very well. But I'm sure there's people moving stuff in Hawaii too. But so I guess you could look at your routes, but I don't know if you guys have such varied routes that you could never really follow it all, or if you have a route that's pretty consistent. It sounds like, Michael, you seem to run a pretty consistent thing with the flowers, so you know the gig, but you might be running that stuff, have to run stuff in all different directions, and you don't really have the same route all the time. So, Ice, did you have something?
Yes, and no, Mega.
Mike, there's a loophole there, Michael, because if you keep it in your trailer, the laws change, brother. You do know that, right? because I know from household goods, if you keep that in your trailer and not in your cab, the laws change. I'm pretty sure that goes for general freight as well, because in household goods, if it's in your trailer, there's no regulation there, brother.
Oh,
Oh,
wait
I
a
know,
minute.
Mike. We got to let the House speakers talk, though. Call me. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you, MAGA.
What did I
Don't
say?
say.
Just kidding.
Before with the crossing state lines and stuff of that nature.
Well, yeah. This is why I want you guys to hook up with 3-tier when we do the defending self-defense, because you guys are gonna be asking these questions, and we want to get you the right answers. We can blow this open and really get into the nitty gritty and do defending self-defense for truckers. Even we do it for women. We do a women's self-defense group. We do. I mean, this is something that comes up with you guys. I knew it was going to come up because it got brought up a couple times, and we were talking about what you could use and this and that and equipment. But it really did get down to the states, the different states. But Chris said something about 48 states. I don't know what you would apply for that concealed carry across 48 states. I don't know the process, but 3-tier would, and Chris he could speak to that.
So there is a class that you can actually take, and it depends on the state that you're in, but you can actually take a class. In Idaho, you can actually take a class for a concealed weapon to actually carry a weapon across 48 of the states. You are actually licensed to carry that weapon. You still have to, but you still have to abide by the laws of the state that you're in, that you cross into, but at the same time, you're still able to carry the weapon in that state as long as you abide by those laws of the state.
If they don't have reciprocity, you can't carry. I have what you're talking about. It's called a concealed carry permit. And no, it is not good in New York. No, it is not good in New Jersey. No, it is not good in Colorado. It is not good in a lot of states, and they're going down as we speak. But again, if they don't have reciprocity, whatever, in that state, it don't matter. You can't get. You can carry a firearm into Nevada, but you can't carry the ammunition into Nevada. And you've got to know your laws for every single state. But there are certain states that you can't have your firearm in the back of a trailer. And this is one of the things that one of my buddies that is actually in the military, and he was afraid that going through, and I'll just tell you, it was Illinois. He was afraid that going through Illinois, he was going to have to call the MPs if he ever got pulled over when he was in the process of moving to Michigan, because he has a whole arsenal of weapons, and they're all in, not environmental, but what is it called? You control the humidity and everything else. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. But he was worried being in the military and being in charge of a base. Okay, he was high up there. He was worried that going through Illinois, that they could actually go through his trailer and get him for transporting firearms. Okay, now if you don't believe my story's true, look at all the people that are getting in trouble for carrying money in their vehicles and getting it confiscated. They can do whatever they want to do, and if you don't have reciprocity in that state, you're in trouble. And it all boils down to knowing what you can and cannot do. Now, they've got to find it first, first off. But I have, 45 reasons why you don't mess with this truck. And I also have 2 bulletproof vests, one for my wife and one for myself. If I go into Chicago, you ain't going to shoot me from a bridge. And if you try, I mean, I got projectiles coming back at you. It is what it is. And like I said, you're going to want to check into the laws, because I checked into it, and there is no way to get reciprocity other than being a federal agent that you can get as a civilian, from what I've found, in every single state. And I'm not counting Alaska or Hawaii, because Alaska is, you got to go through Canada. That's a different country, totally different. And if you float a vehicle across to Hawaii, well, I mean, Google did tell you, kayak across the Pacific Ocean, but whatever. As far as knowing your laws, yeah, there's a lot of states that you can get around it, but it boils right down to, reciprocity, whatever. Again, I don't want to tie up the whole meeting, but anyway, meeting's over. We'll just join your space.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
use
Mike,
Google Maps.
Household Goods Authority, you could transport any firearms anywhere in this country across state lines, as long as it's in a locked device. I can transport any amount of firearms across state lines, as long as they are locked in a secure cabinet in my truck.
Gentlemen, I
Mike.
got to go to ICE.
Yeah, the only thing I wanted to say about that's funny. When I was planning on moving from Jersey to Tennessee, I was told that my gun safe had to be empty, that they were not allowed to. Well, I was also going into a storage situation for a couple of months, but they told me that no, I had to find a home for my weapons. Thank God my brother's got a bigger gun safe than I do. So that was where my stuff went for 3 months. They even made me, because they knew I had a firearm safe, they made me sign a statement that they had printed out by the company, which turned out to be a real bunch of, I'll be nice and call them hairbags. Yeah, I can make it a lot worse. Believe me, you have no idea. They were actually part of the Russian mob. I had contemplated going over there and threatening the owner of the company until I found out where he was. Yeah, right inside of Little Odessa. Yeah, no, that would have been a one-way trip. But yeah, that's what I was told. So I'm glad you refreshed me on this, because now my next move is possibly to be South Carolina, once again crossing state lines. I'll be using a mover, at least for that. I'm not going to try and move a 4-foot tall gun safe. It's just not happening. And thank you very much for allowing me to speak in your spaces, guys. It was a great meeting.
Well, yeah, I wasn't sure. I know when Chris was speaking, you were given a couple different hand gestures there, and I wasn't sure if you wanted to respond with what Chris was saying about cross 48 state lines and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Michael covered that very succinctly, and you hit on the major point. Federal agents, they still must be able to be legally licensed to carry a firearm in their state of residence, and then the federal government grants them a reciprocity. It's the same thing if you look up House Resolution 218, otherwise known as the Law Enforcement Officers Protection Act. It gives any certified, verified law enforcement officer the ability to carry a weapon in all 50 states. The only time we have to dock our weapon is when we travel through airports. That's it. There is absolute, and oh no, excuse me. You talk about shitty states now. Yeah, Hawaii, in terms of being a cop going into that state for a vacation, the main island could just kind of like sink below the ocean, and I'd be quite happy. And yes, I have friends that live there. But when you can go on vacation, you have to take your sealed weapon immediately to a law enforcement agency to have your weapon stored while you're in the islands, because it's illegal to carry, even under 218. Yeah. So, yeah, Chris, I don't know who told you that one, bro, but oh no, you try that one, and I guarantee you're going to get somebody. It might not be a big city officer, but you're going to get somebody in Podunk somewhere that's going to say, oh, really? You really think you can carry in my state? Well, we'll let you argue that out with the magistrate tomorrow morning. Yeah, I don't want to spend time in jail because I was protecting myself and just carrying something. So, yeah, really, I'm sorry I jumped on the icebox on that one, MAGA. But, yeah, I don't want to see anybody lose their freedom because of a misunderstanding in state, county, and federal laws. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm gonna go to Chris real quick, and then, well, Michael, were you jumping in there? Sorry.
Yeah, don't forget that the magistrate happens to be the cop's cousin. So good luck with that.
Well, let's go to Chris real quick, then we'll go back to Marlon and Nice and close out the room. All right. So, Chris.
Yeah, I was just going off of what my buddy had said, and I also just remembered that I have an aunt that actually has a concealed permit as well that goes across the 48 states. And they actually have to go through a class to do this, to actually get this permit. And from what I've been told is they can carry that firearm as long as they abide by the state laws that they go into. That is what I'm going by.
Yep. We're gonna refer this topic to 3-tier when we get to have a space with him. So we'll continue this discussion. And nobody's discounting what you said, Chris. And just so you know that. And I wanted to just say thank you to everybody that showed up. We're gonna go to Marlon and Iceman. We'll close it out. And just again, thank you. Can't thank everybody enough for showing up tonight. It was a great space. Marlon, you got anything?
Good space, guys. Yeah, Michael and all, it was great. So a lot of connections. Genesis came up, and I feel like it was community based to them. So thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, Genesis really contributed a lot to the discussion tonight. I really appreciate that. Iceman?
Yeah, thanks for bringing me in on this as a co-host. And Mike, thank you very much for allowing me to speak in your meeting. And also, congratulations on the truck show. We got a lot of people here that can help you reach your mission. So keep that thought in mind. You met Carmen tonight. Carmen will definitely dig her heels in and pull right along behind you guys or in front of you and show you how to get in there and register voters while you're out at these various events. And you can do it in any state. It's not illegal to get somebody's signature on a document saying that they've now registered to vote. So more power to you that you're spreading your mission out into other people's missions. And that's what MAGA mission's all about. And God bless everybody. God bless your families. You guys on the road, keep the wheels where they belong. And I'm going to steal part of Marlon's God Bless America. And back to the host.
Yeah, I just, we keep holding these spaces, and each time, every single time, we go down a different path and we bring up a lot of different stuff. So I like that. And tonight was great to hear about all the success that you had at that truck rally that you were at. And, I know things are going in the right direction. I can hear it. I can feel it. So I just wanted to thank everybody again. I wanted to thank Noah and Mike and his team, Michael and Jeannie and everybody, even if they're not here. Jamie, of course, he does lots of great work. And I just want to leave us with that and say God bless you and Godspeed and good night. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.